Christmas was on its way. Lovely, glorious, beautiful Christmas around which the entire kid year revolved.
Hello, happy holidays, and welcome once again to the Cine-Files, where each week we enter the world of a great film. We explore its themes, the history, the filmmaking, and the influence it has on us today. My name is Steve Morris, and I am a filmmaker and directing instructor in Los Angeles, California.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Rocha. I'm a writer, producer, host, and voiceover artist in San Diego, California, and avid fan of the film we are talking about today to celebrate the Christmas season, the holiday season for 2025 here on the Cine-Files.
And of course, we couldn't do this show without our incredible supporters on Apple Podcasts, as well as patreon.com, the Cine-Files, where right now we are running a very, very special holiday sale. You can get 25% off any tier available. That means our basic tier or all the way up to our Cine-Files advisory board, as well as doing the year-long discounts. So you can get double discounts if you sign up for a year of supporting the Cine-Files, where you can listen to ad-free versions of the show, as well as our Cine-Files shorts. And all of that is on patreon.com/the Cine-Files. And the only thing you need is the code 9BCA3. 9BCA3 for all of that Cine-Files goodness.
There you go. And for those of you who listen to the show and listen to the ads, you hear our sponsors every time we have a break. And we'd appreciate it if those products or services that they're offering appeal to you. We'd appreciate you all using our code when you sign up or try out those products, because it indicates to those sponsors to keep coming back and sponsoring us every month. And you get massive discounts to try their stuff out. And if you like it, you've got yourself a new thing that you can use in your life, brought to you by the Cine-Files and the fine folks who support us here on the show.
So, John, how did you first come to the holiday classic, A Christmas Story?
Oh, definitely on TV. This is not one that my parents took me to see in the theater. So I remember seeing it on TV. I cannot tell you which primetime network showed it, but I remember it was something that I absolutely loved as a young kid, being a fan of like time period pieces and things of that nature. And just being a kid at the time when I saw the movie, or a young teen, I guess, it actually appealed to me in so many ways. And so I've always watched it once a year, every year, sometimes multiple times. Because it just has a sweetness to it. It's a brisk 90 minutes. And I like the characters and I like the performances. And I really love the voiceover. That's such a great voiceover. So I just remember always being hooked into this movie from the first time I watched it.
So I have no idea when I first watched this. And I came to this movie. You know, we talked a lot about how you came to a film. It's why we asked this question at the beginning of the movie, because it has a huge effect on your perceptions of this film. Most people my age saw this film when it came out or when they were kids. I know I didn't. And I saw it because it was playing in the background, or people would show clips or they would show scenes from it around the holidays, but I didn't really watch it. And so like I had seen parts of it, little bits of it. And then even when we became friends and it was always playing at our holiday parties, so I would sit down and watch it. But I don't think I really actually sat down and watched the whole thing until I was in my 30s, probably.
Wow.
And I think this movie missed me. I can totally, and I had to, it's going to be what I can totally appreciate why this is a beloved movie, but it isn't one of my beloved movies. There are things in it I adore, particularly the ending. The ending I think is amazing, but like it didn't suck me in. It's never been my movie, and so watching this has been much more of a academic experience where I'm going like, okay, what is it that is so special about this film? What am I missing? What do I need to understand? What makes it connect with people? Because it wasn't one that really connected with me.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, that happens. You know, there are certain films that people have a legendary remembrance of from the 1980s. The Goonies. Like, The Goonies has never been my thing.
Not
Temple
mine
of
either.
Doom. Yeah, Temple of Doom. People love that movie. We did a watch along. Never been my thing. Never Ending Story. Never had a desire to see it. The Labyrinth. Never had a desire to see it. Yet these are films that people like are formative films for people our age, Steve, who grew up during that time and watched those movies. So there are just certain ones that kind of slide by you for whatever reason. And by the time you swing back to them, they might not have the same magic they would have had when you were a kid, because the nostalgia factor of this movie, I think, is a massive reason why people love this movie as much as they do.
Two things. One is I think that's huge. But the thing that I really discovered in studying this film, I think this movie might be better than any other film at capturing childhood from a child's perspective.
Yes, 100%.
In a really, really magic way. By the way, when you listed the movies that were never your thing, you've never had this discussion before, that's almost exactly my list. All the same ones. Goonies, Labyrinth, never really, you know, like I saw them, they were fine, but they were never people. And I think part of it is you and I are just a few years older than like Mike Vogel or Shannon McClung. So Goonies and stuff like that hits them at a very different moment in their lives than us.
I don't know if I agree with that, because there are many people my age I grew up with who talk about the Goonies like it's gold, and like it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. And so, for whatever reason, it transcends for that. That movie transcends for people. Yeah.
So a little bit of pre-production. This all starts with Gene Shepard, who wrote the short stories. Now, he is an interesting guy. I did not know very much about him. He was a radio personality and a TV personality in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And he sort of hits that spot where he was absolutely huge locally and made some inroads nationally and was known nationally, but never quite got there. So he's one of these people that for a lot of people, he was very, very important in their world, but didn't quite make it to the national level. For instance, he says that he was all set to replace Steve Allen as the host of The Tonight Show.
Wow.
But they were somehow contractually obligated to give the job to Jack Parr. And so even though they really wanted him, they had to actually say no to him in the end.
Okay.
If the way that I told that story maybe gave a hint to the fact that I don't always find Gene Shepard the most reliable narrator about what actually happened, that's partially true. He did a weekly TV show Inside Gene Shepard on WOR-TV in New York City. This is a really big show. He had these radio shows, and one of the things that he did, started when he started on radio, which is when he needed to do a little ramble, fill a little bit of time. He would just tell stories from his childhood. And he became really, I think about things like Prairie Home Companion or stuff like that, where, or Paul Harvey and the rest of the story, that people really loved Gene Shepard's storytelling. And so he started to write these stories. And in fact, PBS did a whole bunch of TV movies, I never knew this, based on these same stories, including a character known as the Old Man. And there was The Phantom of the Hearth, which is 1976. There's The Great American 4th of July and Other Disasters. And the actor James Broderick actually played the Old Man. He died in 1982. There was real talk that he was going to play the Old Man in this film because he had already played it on PBS a bunch.
Right. Wow.
The stories that make up A Christmas Story are really from a whole bunch of different sources. They're not all one thing. And they're not all even Christmas stories. Some of them are folded in from other places. A bunch of them were published between 1964 and 1966 in, of all places, Playboy magazine. And this is, people don't really understand about Playboy, when people said they read it for the articles, there really were good articles in Playboy magazine.
Yeah.
And then he, again, when he's done these stories, he always, it seems like, has a gig to show up on a radio show and read some of his stories. And that is where Bob Clark, the director, first heard of Gene Shepard. He heard him on the radio reading, and it was specifically the story that appears in this movie, which is Flick's tongue. And so he just goes, there's something really, really special about this. And he's a Canadian, and he begins making films, and he really wants to make this Christmas Story movie, but nobody wants to make it with him. He can't put any money together. And then he directs another film that is very successful. And that little film that leads, believe it or not, directly to the making of A Christmas Story is a film called Porky's.
Now that one I saw.
I saw that too.
Yeah. As a teenager.
I think Porky's is the epitome of exactly what was wrong with that 80s sex comedy movement. Like Porky's is very problematic.
Yeah, it's very problematic. No doubt about it. It's starring Kim Cattrall, one of who would go on to, of course, have a great career and embrace the sexuality in Sex and the City of herself.
So that's all my pre-production. Would you like to get into the film?
Let's do it. I'm excited. I love this movie.
We start off, again, it's a Christmas movie, so we got bells ringing and Christmas music. And we fade into this snowy neighborhood in here.
There it is. My my house at good old Cleveland Street. How could I ever forget it?
And the narrator, of course, is Gene Shepard, the writer of these stories.
I think he's essential to this being a successful movie. He's so good in the narration here. You know, we talk about this, Steve, with like the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. There are just certain movies that when they find the right narrator, they nail it. Like right now, Train Dreams is a big film that's out that people are looking at for awards consideration. Will Patton narrates the whole film, even though Joel Edgerton is the lead in that film.
Oh.
And so it's an interesting technique. And when you get the right narrator to narrate the entire movie, and that's one of the big reasons why a film is successful, if the narrator works when you make that decision. You know?
I totally agree. And it's not only his voice and performance, but it's the writing, which is all his writing.
Yeah.
And this was it. So I read The Christmas Story has been collected as a book of short stories. So I listened to it. And the experience I had, there's a thing that Stephen King said in one of his stories. I think it was in Hearts of Atlantis, where there's a little kid who's going to the library, and the library or some wise person tells him, look, there are some stories that are great stories, and there are some stories that are really, really well written. And every once in a while, you can find a great story that is really, really well written. And those are the magical things. And his example is Lord of the Flies.
Oh, yeah.
My feeling about listening to Gene Shepard, to his writing, I don't think these are great stories in the sense of Lord of the Flies. You know what I mean? Like, but man, that guy could write. His writing is the language is, and this is one of the secret magical sauces, I think, in A Christmas Story, is it's the combination of some pretty big vocabulary and sophisticated narration describing perfectly a child's experience.
But there I am, with that dumb round face and that stupid stocking cap.
Well, he delivers it with this childlike approach, you know, inner child, I guess you would say, because he's got the older voice. He's older when he's saying these words, but he, like the little expressions and the breathy moments and the excitement, he like he brings you back to that time when you were a child looking at it through the eyes of an adult. And I think that's such a great gift of his in his performance here. And I would love to know how much is just, they were just like turned on the mic and let him do it, and Bob just directed around it and laid it over it, or if Bob was actually directing his performance to see if you could get a certain performance out of Gene Shepard with his lines. I don't know.
I don't have an exact answer, but I have some clues maybe. One is, obviously this is all Gene Shepard's writing, much of it lifted directly from the books. The second thing is that Gene Shepard had made a career of storytelling on a mic. So I doubt he needed too much direction. And the third thing is Gene Shepard was a pain in the ass. To the point where they had to kick him off the set at one point because he was way too persnickety about every single little detail. So while I don't know the answer to your question, I feel like I could kind of hone in on how that might have gone.
No surprise. No surprise.
Christmas was on its way. Lovely, glorious, beautiful Christmas around which the entire kid year revolved.
How big was Christmas when you were a kid?
Oh my God! Well, I was a poor kid, so I didn't get gifts throughout the year from my dad or anything. I mean, we were just struggling to pay bills. I mean, we didn't have a car for the first 2 years we lived in America. So, I mean, my dad walked everywhere to work. We walked downtown to DC, if you can believe that. And so those are things that we did. So we were poor for a majority of my life. So Christmas was the deal, and you got one, maybe two presents at Christmas at most. So your list had to be real concise. I think this is one of the reasons why I love this movie so much, because I think these are poor people, not poor. Well, I guess poor.
They're working class,
working class poor.
They are struggling every week to bring in every penny. Absolutely.
Yes, and that's how my parents were working too. Eventually, my mom working a job herself, so two jobs, total. And so so Christmas was a very, very big deal for us, and so. As I said, this is why the film, I connect to it so much, because having that one thing you want, because it was that one thing and then an ancillary thing you could ask for. Absolutely. How about you?
I was not a poor kid. As I said many times, I'm a Jewish kid who grew up celebrating Christmas. My dad also did not give me gifts all the time. I knew kids that got stuff. That was not, I heard we can't afford it a lot as a kid. And frankly, when I was a kid, like money came into my family sort of in the mid 80s. You know, so like things were tight a bit in my household, but the poor versus rich of it all had nothing to do with the importance of Christmas. Like Christmas was a big, big deal. And the emotions around leading up to it and the emotions during it and the emotions in the aftermath are definitely reflected in this movie.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, my mother and father were very religious, so Christmas was also about celebrating the birth of Christ. So it was a very big deal in my Latino household, Christmas, for a number of reasons, for sure.
Downtown Holman was prepared for its yearly bacchanalia of peace on earth and goodwill to men.
And bacchanalia is not a word that any kid would use. That's what I love about the way they do this narration.
Yeah, so great.
By the way, this is all shot in Cleveland, and the way they did this is this was shot in the week or two directly after Christmas, and they just said to the very nice Cleveland town center, hey, do you guys mind leaving up all your Christmas decorations? And they said, sure.
Nice.
And the way they shot this was basically all of the exteriors are shot in Cleveland, all of the interiors, both on interior sets as well as on interior locations, was shot up in Toronto. And one other thing, because in my brain, I always put this movie in the 50s, and it's not. It's in the late 30s. He puts it, it's right around 1939, 1940, definitely before World War II, still feeling the final effects of the Depression.
Higby's corner window was traditionally a high water mark of the pre-Christmas season. First-nighters, packed earmuff to earmuff, jostled in wonderment before a golden, tinkling display of mechanized, electronic joy.
And these kids are looking into that window, and this location is why they shot in Cleveland. Higby's department store is because what they needed was something very specific. They needed a department store, A, that they could take over, B, that still had the architecture and design enough of the 30s that they could dress it that way. Because, department stores, they revamp. We're going to put in new floors. We're going to put in new display cases. So Higby's is definitely exactly what they needed. And essentially they moved in. And while Higby's was open to customers in the day in the busy Christmas season, it was closed at night because that's when they were shooting the movie.
Huh. Wow.
And this is, by the way, we get our first real glimpse of Ralphie, Peter Billingsley, who is an iconic Christmas kid.
Yeah, one of these guys who, we remember as if you watched it at a certain time, and then he kind of disappears for a bit, but he's come back over the last few years, kind of riding the Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn, Jason Bateman, those kind of guys train in their success. He's in Iron Man, he's in a number of things here. He's also a filmmaker himself. And I think he's come out of that whole typecast as a kid type thing and has found a way to establish himself separately and outside of this stuff and make films and make a work that is indicative of where he is as a talent and as a force in Hollywood.
Apparently, he was the very first kid they auditioned.
Wow.
And Bob Clark went, you know what? He's too perfect. He's like a cliche of the kid. We need to look some more. And then they auditioned. And again, I don't know if they said thousands of kids. I don't know if that's true or not, including Keith Coogan, Sean Astin, and Will Wheaton all auditioned for this part. And at the end of all of these auditions, Bob Clark went, what the hell am I doing? I saw the perfect kid. And then I've just been wasting time since then.
Yeah. Can I add one more thing? Just to if you can weave it in. And also, Peter is, he became a very well-known producer for things like Dinner for Five. Remember that show that was on?
Oh, yeah.
Where they interviewed a bunch of filmmakers about their lives and as they were eating and stuff like that. So he found a second career as a producer of these kinds of shows because of his connection with all the filmmakers who he knew growing up in the 90s as he was trying to find his way in the business again, coming out of being a child actor.
For years, I pitched a show that was very much inspired by Dinner for Five. And I still love the idea, and I could never sell it. It was called Jam Sessions, and it was basically that kind of situation, except it was in a music studio, and it was musicians who all had their instruments. So everyone talking about their careers, except you got John Legend sitting at the piano, and you have Yo-Yo Ma as cello, and they're all talking about, and they all can play music and jam with each other. I loved the idea. I tried to sell it for years. Couldn't sell it anymore. and this window it's like the perfect kid Christmas window of the area, the model trains, and you see the noses pressed against it, and you see all the little toys and stuff, and the camera is panning along until we see...
There it is. The holy grail of Christmas gifts, the Red Ryder 200-shot range model air rifle.
Did you play with BB guns as a kid?
No, was never my thing. I've never had an interest in guns or rifles. I just never had that. Even though I grew up in Southern Virginia, I never had an interest in it. I was more interested in tech. So Atari was my Red Ryder when I was a kid, trying to get an Atari from my parents.
See, all you needed to do was be at my house and get bar mitzvahed, and then you would get your Atari 2600.
Hey, cut me where you want, as long as I get the Atari.
You're going to have to learn a lot of Hebrew, but it was definitely worth it. The bar mitzvah hall was no joke. Doug Johnson had a BB gun, and we used to shoot targets in his little basement until he shot me in the ass once.
Of course. That's what happens.
Yep. But he did not shoot my eye out.
You shoot your butt out, though.
My fevered brain seethed with the effort of trying to come up with the infinitely subtle devices necessary to implant the Red Ryder range model air rifle indelibly into my parents' subconscious.
That is what I mean by language that cannot come out of that kid, but perfectly describes emotionally where he is and what he's thinking.
A lot of kids feel this way about things, yeah.
Mom calls up that it's time to get ready, and he gets up, and we see his brother Randy, who is played by Ian Petrella.
Ian Petrella had a little bit of a run in the 1980s, being in things like Different Strokes and Who's the Boss, Highway to Heaven, My Sister Sam, and his last kind of credited big thing was an episode of Beverly Hills 90210. But after that, he kind of moved away from it. But he works in animation and puppetry, and he's come back to The Christmas Story all the time. He's in the sequel that was done a few years ago on HBO Max that isn't that great. And he even hosted, he was even the guest tour host for the Christmas Story house in Cleveland, Ohio for a few months from 2010 to 2011. So he certainly seems like he has a nice reverence for his time in that movie.
Well, since you brought it up, this Christmas Story house museum is a fascinating... So they found the house, but of course, the house, the exterior house in Cleveland, has nothing to do with the interiors, which were shot on stages in Toronto. So these couple of guys went, we love A Christmas Story, let's buy the house. But then they had to gut the entire interior of the house because it didn't match anything that's in the movie. Then they rebuilt it to resemble the movie. And then they went, well, we need to get the furniture. And it seems like people who love the movie found ways to contribute the furniture. So someone would find the right radio somewhere. Some people went, well, like, we can't find anything like these chairs. So some carpenter built all the chairs and painted them to match what was in the set. Wow. Like, they really, like, this was a community love project to build this thing. And then apparently one of these guys that did the museum was buddies with Ian Petrella. And it doesn't sound like he just came to host. It sounds like he was broke and close to homelessness, and they let him live there. And and it's like a weird thing that he would be there. You know, later on we'll see when he was, little Randy inside underneath the sink. Yeah. Every family who came there, the kid wanted to get under the sink. And there was Ian, the kid who had been under the sink, who's living in the bedroom upstairs saying, okay, here, take your pictures. That's a weird situation.
It is a weird situation. Oh, man. Entertainment. It's a strange business.
No disrespect to the actor at all. Like, I don't mean this. I mean, this is like, this is what you got to do.
Yep. Got to survive.
I love little Ralphie's scheme to plant that rifle in his parents' head. He takes the ad and slips it into his mom's magazine. It's just certain that this is going to work. And we go down to the kitchen, and in comes the old man played by Darren McGavin.
Yeah, of course, we've already talked about Darren McGavin with The Natural because he's so good in that movie. But this is the role I will always remember him for. I know some of you who are older than Steve and I, even who listen to us, you remember him as Kolchak, the Night Stalker, and all these other things that he did before. And of course, a fantastic character actor, Steve, who worked for a number of years in a number of shows, TV and on the screen there in film. So yeah, but this is the role, right? This is the one.
Would you like to hear the first choice and who, according to the story told by the director, really, really, really wanted to do the script?
Please.
Jack Nicholson. This is an audio podcast, but John has had such a reaction to that casting.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. I don't even know how that would work with Jack Nicholson. No, McGavin is the better choice because no matter how cantankerous or gruff he is in this whole movie, he reminds you, if you had a father like this, and I did, just imagine him Latino, but he reminds you of a dad who cares, but he's a strict dad from that time, So I'm not sure Nicholson could have gotten where Darren got with this role.
Well, and it's also where I hear a story. I totally believe that Bob Clark had a meeting with Nicholson.
Oh,
but
sure.
whether or not Nicholson was really wanted to do this movie or not, I don't really know. And of course, and then we meet Mom, who I think is the unsung hero of this movie. I think she steals so many scenes, and she's so great and hits such a right tone. And that is Melinda Dillon.
Yeah, we talked about her a little bit in Close Encounters of the Third Kind when we did that movie, but we didn't give too much of a biography on her, I don't believe. But she is an incredible actress. So she was nominated for a Tony Award in 1963 as the original member of the Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf cast on stage. Then she was nominated for Close Encounters, as I mentioned here, her being in the movie for Best Supporting Actress. Then was nominated for a film that I have not seen from the 1980s, and I need to remedy this, Absence of Malice, the Paul Newman, Sally Field film. She was nominated for that as a Best Supporting Actress as well. But you've also seen her in Slapshot with Paul Newman again, Fist, the Sylvester Stallone movie, the one he was going to do after Rocky that was supposed to catapult him into serious land and didn't. She has an appearance in the Muppet movie. Of course, a lot of you might remember her from Harry and the Hendersons as the mom in that, Prince of Tides, Tu Wong Fu, Magnolia even, the Paul Thomas Anderson. Remember, she played Philip Baker Hall's wife in that one as well. But you're so right, Steve. The film does not work without her. She is so good and believable as one of these moms in the 1930s who's put upon and serves food for her husband, knows her husband's not as smart as she is, but cares for her kids. So she's the right energy throughout the whole movie. And although she veers at times into a little bit of it feels like a little softness, a little weakness, when she has to bring the hammer, she brings the hammer. And that makes her so sweet. Such a perfect mom for a film like this,
So we hear a bunch of, kind of small talk. We hear a little about sports and other things. But the thing we find out is that Dad is involved in some kind of trivia game that is very important, that he could win big money. And the question they're trying to answer is,
what is the name of the Lone Ranger's nephew's horse?
You know what? I totally forgot. Do you know who the Lone Ranger's nephew is?
No. Who was the Lone Ranger's nephew?
The Green Hornet.
Oh.
So this question is actually, who is the Green Hornet's horse?
Oh, wow.
And that is like a weird piece because I used to listen to old time radio shows because before I didn't know that I was going to be obsessed with audiobooks and podcasts. But when I was in junior high, they had records of the Lone Ranger and Burns and Allen and all that stuff at my junior high school. So I used to listen to this all the time. So I knew that the Green Hornet was the Lone Ranger's nephew and had totally forgotten until researching this movie. But you get one of these puzzles right, John, it could be $50,000.
Yeah. Aren't we all? Isn't that always the situation?
Yeah.
You're constantly in pursuit of money, however you can get it.
Meanwhile, I struggled for exactly the right BB gun hit. It had to be firm, but subtle.
Fleck says he saw some grizzly bears near Pulaski's candy store.
They look over at him. Having now a kid and remembering being a kid, the amount of stupid things that kids say trying to get the things they want is kind of amazing.
Ralphie, what would you like for Christmas?
Horrified, I heard myself blurt it out.
I want an official Red Ryder Carbine Action 200 shell range ball air rifle.
Ooh.
No. Shoot your eye out.
Oh, no, it was the classic mother BB gun block. You'll shoot your eye out.
So the Red Ryder air rifle is one of the stories in this collection of short stories. And what Bob Clark did, I think, really smartly is these are all just short stories. These are vignettes.
Yeah.
But he figured out that the BB gun could be the thread that went through all of them to make it feel like it was a whole movie. And I think it's very effective.
Yeah, very smart.
I was just kidding. Even though Flick is getting one. I guess I just like some Tinker toys.
I couldn't believe my own ears. Tinker toys? She'd never buy it.
That's the gift of this movie, is watching Ralphie try to figure out, with the child brain that he has, trying to figure out how to fool these adults or trick these adults. into buying this for him. And certainly when we were as kids, we always thought we knew a little bit how we could manipulate our parents or how we could trick our parents. And of course, they're always smarter than we think they are.
And and the other thing too, I think that it does really well is what is the kid's world? What are the values of kiddom? You know, what means stuff to us? Right. And adults don't understand what's actually going on in kids' minds.
Mothers know nothing about creeping marauders burrowing through the snow toward the kitchen, where only you and you alone stand between your tiny, huddled family and insensate evil.
It's great. It is great narration. And we dissolve to the first of these little fantasies, which is we have criminals, and we know they're criminals because they're wearing striped shirts and have masks and are descending on ropes. And Ralphie is now in a cowboy outfit with his trusty rifle, ready to fight the bad guys.
As a kid would imagine the cowboy outfit. This bright white thing that he's wearing, walking in with old blue. And I think Billingsley does a great job with playing this version of a cowboy who's defending his family on the homestead.
Well, and he wasn't watching cowboys like The Wild Bunch or Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He was watching Gene Autry and Trigger and Roy Rogers. That's the kind of cowboys. And Tom Mix. That's who he's seeing. By the way, I should say that the rifle is based on the Daisy Rifle Company, who had pivoted to making basically BB guns for kids in the 1800s. This was a big tradition. And the Daisy Rifle Company did build the Red Ryder rifle. And they did even have one in stock that had the built-in compass and the built-in timepiece. The problem was they were on the wrong side because Peter Billingsley was left-handed. And they only made right-handed BB guns, and so they had to make a custom one for this scene.
Save us, Ralphie! I just know those bad guys would be coming for us in the end.
Don't worry, Dad. As long as I got old Blue.
He climbs out and looks at the criminals. And by the way, so the exteriors are Cleveland, the interiors are Toronto. So anytime you're seeing Ralphie from the inside aiming at the bad guys, he is in Toronto. And the criminals are in Cleveland. And this is tough on, so they had to play this months apart, these parts of the scene. And this is tough on adults. It's real tough on kids to remember where they were and what they were doing when they did something a month ago in a totally different location. That's really hard for a little kid.
Seize it, boys! The gin is off!
And they turn to run and he shoots them as they die horribly. The reactions are very much out of silent movies, Yeah. That's how this looks.
Black Bart.
Apparently, there were several more fantasies, including at least an alien abduction, but they cut them out of the film.
That hot damn walls is froze up again.
Some men are Baptists, others Catholics. My father was an Oldsmobile man.
Son of a bitch would freeze up in the middle of summer on the equator.
I feel like you relate to this.
Oh, yeah. My dad had his Cutlass Sierra, and ain't no one talking him out of his Cutlass Sierra for many, many years. Before that, it was a gray Volkswagen station wagon. He loved that thing to pieces. Blue leather with white stitching on it. Nice. It's a handsome. He loved it. And so, yeah, Dad. I've never had that kind of affinity for cars, but Dad did. He worked on his car. I mean, even though he was a terrible mechanic, he would work on his cars like it was hilarious. But yeah, it's why so much of this film appeals to me. I had the similar upbringing, even though my father is not a dude from the 1930s.
I mean, to some degree, maybe he is a little bit.
Maybe. Yeah.
My dad never bought a new car his entire life.
Wow.
He only bought used cars. And all of his used cars, almost every one of them was a hand-me-down. So when I was a kid, he drove his mother's 1972 Chevy Impala.
Yeah.
And then he got like a friend of the family's old Honda. At another point, he had his father's old Oldsmobile. My dad wouldn't until I think my dad's midlife crisis happened when I was in high school. There was only one car he ever wanted his whole life, and that was a 1957 Thunderbird. And he bought one when I was in high school.
Wow.
That was the coolest car. That car was awesome.
Man. I feel like I would have got along really well with your dad. I feel like we would have had phone calls and he was still on text messages and I could have taken him to the movies. Like your dad is the kind of dad I would have totally hung out with. I don't really like a lot of other people's dads. Michael Vogel's dad I like a lot. He's another guy I love hanging out with. Michael Vogel.
Well, you might have had a better relationship with my dad than I did because he and I weren't sharing long phone calls.
Well, because I was in his blood. It's just different. It's just different. Yeah.
And then as he's grumbling about his Oldsmobile, we start to hear coughs and noises and sputters from the furnace downstairs.
It's a clinker! That blasted stupid furnace, that gummit.
And we hear Darren McGavin working on that furnace, muttering. And what's so great about it is as you kind of realize, like, oh, he's actually swearing a blue streak.
Yes.
But we are changing it into incomprehensible mutters for this film.
My dad, same thing. The furnace down in the basement. Not really a basement, just the second floor of the house where the washing machine was. He would work on that thing all the time in our house. He refused to have it. Like, he hated if he had to call anybody to come fix anything in the house, even though he was terrible at all of it. I love my dad. Rest in peace. Terrible at fixing everything. But he would cuss in Spanish all the time when he would hit himself with tools and stuff like that. Oh, it was hilarious, man. Because he would fix something and would break a week later is what I mean. He was terrible at it. And so, like, you know, for me, that is an experience I take into my adulthood. I don't try to fix a fucking thing. I always hire people to fix anything, man, because I hate that experience and I don't like it.
It's so funny. So my grandfather, my dad's dad, super handy. So he loved it. So he was retired. And if you said, hey, we have a little electrical problem or the toilet or a plumbing thing, Grandpa Mark would be like, let me come over, you know? And my dad was pretty good. Like, it's so, I just like our ability. It used to be that if you were the man of the house, you had to be able to fix the thing.
Yes.
You know,
100%.
And my dad, you know, so my grandfather could do a lot of it. My dad could do a fair amount of it. He would be, I remember he was soldering things together and like, he would do that. And I know some stuff. I could, you know, work mostly because of working on, which I'm sure you did too, on theater sets and building sets and things like that. That's where I sort of learned, you know, you didn't do that much of that?
I was terrible at it. I am telling you, I'm technically terrible at this shit. I can't paint a room. I can't build a set. I build the fuck out of IKEA furniture. I'll tell you this right now. I'm a master of the Allen wrench. I'll tell you that right now. But like actually building shit from scratch, I don't know how to use a level. I'm just terrible at all of this shit. I really am legitimately terrible at this. I just don't have a propensity for it, no matter how much I've tried to do it in my life, you know? And so I envy people who can, and those Home Depots, whenever I drive by them, just laugh at me. And I always feel less of a man about it. You know, Lindley talked to me the other day about it. Just digression. I don't know if you want to complain. Like we were driving by the Home Depot and I go, you know what? Every time I drive by, I just feel like the thing is going to me. You're less of a man because you don't come in here to buy tools and get things. But I just can't do it. And in our society, we are grown up with the idea that a man must be able to fix things. That's a real man's man. And I just have always felt lesser than because I've never had a desire to do it. And whenever I've tried to do it multiple times, I'm terrible at it, you know?
So first of all of those which were very much in that world right now, men are supposed to do this and women are supposed like, that's all bullshit. And I hate all that stuff.
I know it's tough.
Yeah. My guess is, and I don't mean this to be insulting. My guess is I might know slightly more about this kind of stuff than you do.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes.
And I am just as terrible. Like I mean, it's like and part of it is I'm not good with my hands. Like I'm really, like my handwriting is terrible. I can't draw. Like, and I'm very like, so for an example would be, and I know we're in a digression. I'm a good cook, but I don't present things beautifully. Like I'm not good at having everything in just the right place, which is why I can't do carpentry. I can't do, my saw cut won't be good. I'm not patient enough. I'm not detail oriented in this way enough. Like I suck at it, you know?
Yeah. I bought wall panels to put up in the room here, but I bought them an inch and a half too long.
Yeah.
And they've been sitting in my garage because I'm like, what am I going to do? Do I have to cut these things? How do I measure? And then I watched a 13-minute video and I was like, I'm not going to fucking do all that. Fuck that shit. I can't fucking do that. I will ruin it. So, yeah. I mean, I envy the fact that you even still try. Like, I respect the fact.
I do. Well, part of it, by the way, part of it is being a parent. Because if I'm trying to teach,
Good point.
Literally had this argument with my son who wants to do cosplay stuff. And I'm like, and he just wants to buy cosplay stuff. And I'm like, look, dude, if you want to really do this, you're going to have to learn how to build stuff.
Yeah.
And then I said, so I will pay for the materials if we get a YouTube video and figure out how to do it, and we'll build it together and be great. And he's like, yeah, we'll totally do that. Except I don't want to look at it. I just want to build it myself. I know how to do it. And I'm like, you really don't know how to do it. Like we had to. And then I had told him, I was like, I'm not buying the materials unless we do some research and know what we're going to do. And he's like, and then he was furious with me. Like, you said you would buy me this. I said I'd buy it in this circumstances. So the reason I bring that up is I have to try to do stuff like this, because if I don't try to do stuff like this, I'm modeling the wrong behavior,
Yeah.
Anyway, the long digression. Needless to say, things are not going well with this furnace. By the way, 2 quick Darren McGavin stories. One is that the particular not swearing mumbling was written down verbatim by Gene Shepard. And he hands it to Darren McGavin, and Darren McGavin says, yeah, I can come up with my own mumbling. And so this is not what Gene Shepard wrote. And the other story, which I meant to mention, when he got cast, he shows up for the first day on the set and says, okay, what smart guy hired me for this movie? And Bob Clark goes, I did. And he's like, good job. He sounds like he was alive.
In the heat of battle, my father wove a tapestry of obscenity that, as far as we know, is still hanging in space over Lake Michigan.
We're getting everyone dressed to go out in the snow, and they're putting layer after layer after layer of Randy on Randy until we hear,
my kid brother looked like a tick about to pop.
What?
Now, is this foreign for you? Because you grew up in California. Like, I remember this, putting on like 7 layers of fucking jackets and sweaters just to walk to elementary school or middle school. Did you have any of that experience growing up in California?
When we visited the snow was a place that you went to because you went up to Lake Tahoe. Right. So I had been in the snow. It was a destination like going to the beach, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, here we're in this foreign land where there's this snow stuff, but no, I never had to go to school in it.
Oh yeah.
And he can't even put his arms down.
That's so great.
As we head outside, we continue to hear more bangs and swearing at the furnace, and we're walking along the street, meet up with some friends like Flick, who's played by Scott Schwartz.
Scott Schwartz, if you guys remember, Steve, you remember The Toy with Richard Pryor? He was the lead kid in that with Jackie Gleason, a very uncomfortable movie looking back on it now.
It's a good thing he's also associated with a beloved classic.
Yeah.
So he can kind of downplay, I was in The Toy.
For sure. But he's also in a film called Kid Co., A Time to Live, Raiders of the Living Dead, and Fear. And then in the 1990s, he gets into pornography, adult entertainment. He was in the adult film industry through the 1990s and then worked in a number of administrative roles in the adult film industry. He was in a dozen films during that time and then quit in 1999. He kind of reinvented himself, started going back into acting, and he got into trading cards. And so he helped create a line of celebrity-based trading cards for Don Russ, where he's obtained celebrity photographs. Then he started working with Upper Deck, Razor, In the Game for the sports cards, and he's written for Beckett throughout his career in the 2000s with doing that as well. And then he became the president of A Minor Consideration, which is a child actors advocacy organization that was established in 1990. And he came back to do the sequel as well in 2022 that's on HBO Max. So yeah, interesting life this guy has had.
Apparently. I mean, this is the thing is if you're a kid actor in a movie, the odds are you're not going to be an actor you're going to, you're not set for life. You got to do stuff.
Right. The odds are the deal wasn't worked out for you to get residuals for the rest of your life at a high level, even though this film became, a classic.
And then another kid joins them, which is, it's so funny that we have Scott Schwartz playing Flick, and then we have R.D. Robb, who plays Schwartz in this film.
Yeah, not much on R.D. He was in the Brady Bunch movie in the 90s and Matilda 8 Days a Week. And then he's probably well known to a degree for having directed a film called Don's Plum that starred an up-and-coming duo of actors named Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire.
Wow.
And apparently he got into a lawsuit over this movie because those two actors said they agreed to do the film as long as the film was never released in the United States. R.D. Robb said that wasn't true. And when he tried to release it in the States via distributors, Tobey Maguire and DiCaprio sued him, and they ended up settling out of court. So yeah, just an interesting story with this guy as well. He was also in an episode of The Goldbergs, because of course you want to bring back the 1980s actors into a 1980s show. So.
Sure. And what the kids are arguing about right now is what happens if you stick your tongue on a light pole in winter, and will it freeze there?
What would your old man know about anything? He knows because he once saw a guy stick his tongue to a railroad track on a bet. And the fire department had to come to get the guy's tongue off the track. I
mean, this is classic kids. There's this rumor. There's this secret. It's later. We're outside. We're down at a flagpole, and we are still having this argument about what happens when you stick your tongue on a light post.
You're full of beans, and so's your old man. Oh, yeah? Yeah! Says who? Says me. Oh, yeah? Yeah! I double dare you.
Were dares important when you were a kid?
Oh, my God. Are you kidding? Being dared to jump off the bridge, being dared to swing on the rope swing off of that tree and fall into the lake or into the pond, whatever, the river or the creek. The creek. So, of course, taking your bike and riding out as far as you can. Dares were all over the place when I was a kid.
What's so weird, to some degree, at least from my observations through my kid in Los Angeles, California at this moment, this culture has changed. I mean, yes, there was still stuff like this, but adults are so much more involved in kids' lives, and kids spend so much less time just being kids away from other people that this stuff doesn't happen to this degree, I don't think.
I'm not a parent, so I don't know, but like, it just feels like, it feels like that's drifting. I feel like there's good and bad to it, right?
That's what I think.
All the things we went through when we were younger, I wouldn't want to put kids through the bullying, the indifference of parents or authority figures to the things you're struggling with. But then again, I feel like we've also gotten way too soft in how we're dealing with it. Our kids are coming up way too soft and not prepared for the world. And like, oh, I'm hurt. And it's like, what? You got to fight. You got to get in there. But, what does that lead to when it comes to mental health? So it's an interesting time now to raise a child. I envy what you're doing, because I don't think I'd have the strength to do it, to be honest with you. There's so much to worry about now.
It is a lot to worry about. I think what you've expressed is what I think is wrong with so much of the way we look at things today is people want to point out the evil and then get rid of that. And it's like, okay, kids were bullied when we were kids. That's terrible.
Yes.
And we want to get rid of that. And I think there has been huge progress in getting rid of bullying, and that's great.
At least physically. But online bullying certainly is
online bullying is terrible.
Insane.
I agree. Great point. But then by doing that, it's like you go, okay, let's not have kids be alone with each other, and let's not have them try to solve their own problems. And that's terrible.
Well, I double dog dare you.
Now it was serious. A double dog dare. What else was left but a triple dare you? And finally, the coup de grace of all dares, the sinister triple dog dare.
I triple dog dare you.
He skips over triple dare right to triple dog dare.
Right.
It's a huge breach of etiquette. And at this point, Flick has no choice whatsoever. And so he goes, all right. And he leans in, and there's definitely a dramatic build, and he sticks out his tongue, goes to the metal pole. By the way, in my 4K version of this movie, it's very clear that is a wooden pole that's painted to look metal. It does not look metal. It wouldn't bother you in lower resolution. But you could see it's genuinely cold out because you can see their breath.
Flick's spine stiffened, his lips curled in a defiant sneer. There was no going back now.
And he does it, and it sticks. So filmmaking-wise, there's a hole in the pole, and there's a dude with essentially a vacuum cleaner attached to a suction cup.
Oh.
So when you stick your tongue in, it sucks your tongue into that space, into that little suction cup. Oh. And then when they turn off the suction, then you can come out. That's how they did this trick.
It works. It's very believable.
Totally works. And his panic, man, when he realizes it's terrifying.
His screams are so believable, man. I've made those screams as a kid. Like, I know those screams. It's so believable you're listening to it.
Did you actually stick your tongue on a frozen piece of metal? I mean,
no, but other things that physically tested my patience or endurance for sure.
And the kids are all looking like deers in a headlight. Like, what do we do? What do we do? He's screaming, he's panicking, and the bell rings, and kids peel off. And now Flick turns to his friends, Ralphie and Schwartz, the guy responsible for having him do this horrible thing, and he's desperate for help. And they just leave him alone. They leave a man behind.
Listen, the bell rang. When you're a kid and the bell rings, you got to go. You got to go or you're going to get in trouble. So sorry, man. Sorry.
And which I think is very kid-like.
Has anyone seen Flick?
Flick? Flick who?
Finally, this little girl waves towards the window.
Oh my God.
And the teacher runs out, cut to the kids in the window of the classroom watching as the fire truck shows up and finally frees Flick from the pole.
I love Ralphie putting his head down like, oh, shit. I'm in so much trouble.
By the way, fun tip, if you ever in this circumstance, just some warm water, not too hot, that will free your tongue. We can get out of this. And they come back in, Flick with his tongue just like looking wrecked with like stuff on it.
By the way, I do want to say the teacher, Mrs. Shields, is played by Teddy Moore, and she's a Canadian actress who is quite revered. She comes from a generational line of icons in Canada here. She studied at RADA, and she starred opposite Christopher Walken in the Stratford Festival's production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. She's obviously known for this movie more than anything else. She was in films like Second Wind, Murder by Decree, Down the Road Again. But Moore and her life partner, Donald Shabib, they have two children, Noah and Susanna, along with Moore's daughter, Zoe, from another relationship. And Zoe is a writer producer, Susanna is a teacher. But Noah, better known as 40, that's his name, 40, is the music engineer producer for the recording artist Drake. So what an insane world where her children end up being one of the children ends up being a producer for Drake.
Wow,
so interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah, interesting kind of tentacles with this whole thing. So.
And she is now standing very pointedly over Ralphie.
I know that some of you put Flick up to this, but he has refused to say who. But those who did it know their blame.
And I love Ralphie's sort of who me looks.
Adults love to say things like that, but kids know better. We knew darn well it was always better not to get caught.
Yes, 100%.
I've been trying to teach my kid this lesson, the opposite lesson.
I know you have.
He will spend 4 hours arguing about the smallest thing. I'm like, dude, just pick up your underwear. Then we would be done. That's all we have to do. Like, just do the thing.
Like I said, no thanks.
And then she says, did you ever hear things called a theme?
Oh, of course. All the time.
That was never a California word. I never heard that.
Oh, yeah. Writing in pencil, those big fucking workbooks. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
I mean, we had to write an essay, write a paragraph, write a page, write 200 words. I never heard anyone say write a theme.
That's when people talk to me about like, well, what are the themes of the movie? Go fuck yourself. That's the themes of the movie. Whenever I just hear the word theme, I have a PTSD reaction to it because we used to write about that shit all the time when I was a kid. Oh.
And this theme is What I Want for Christmas.
I saw a faint gleam of light at the other end of the black cave of doom. I knew that when Miss Shields read my magnificent, eloquent theme, that she would sympathize with my plight and everything would work out. Somehow.
And this is the plot of the movie. You know,
Yes.
I mean, it's not a big plot, but this is this is essentially his I Want song.
Yeah.
It's very clear. This is the goal is to get this rifle.
Absolutely. By enlisting whoever he can to help him get this rifle.
And then we leave the school and we're talking about the tongue and what happened. And then all of a sudden,
Scott Farkas.
Scott Farkas. What a rotten name. There he stood between us and the alley.
and this actor is Zach Ward.
Yeah, Canadian actor, surprisingly, Zach Ward. How could you play a villain, be a Canadian? But there he is. He is
Well,
one
they're
of the
shooting
best.
in Canada. I mean, they have to, it's called acting, John.
I guess. But it's one of the most iconic villains ever, wouldn't you say, in the history of film, especially for those of us who watched this at a young age. Scott Farkas, I had a bully. I don't know if you had a bully, Steve, but I had a bully in school, and a lot of the things that Scott Farkas does in this movie, he did. Well, there was two of them, and they would tag team me at times, bullying me separately. But I think he does a great job with this, Zach Ward. After this, a little bit of tough sledding, trying to get work because of the stereotype of him playing this bad guy. But he did eventually find himself on roles like NCIS and Lost and Crossing Jordan. But then he became a series regular on Titus, the Christopher Titus show, for his character Dave Scoville. And then he started showing, he had a bit of a mini renaissance, started showing up in Almost Famous, the Transformers movie, Resident Evil Apocalypse, Freddy vs. Jason, Alone in the Dark, and Postal. He is the CEO now of Global Sports Financial Exchange since 2017, if you can believe that. And then he reprised his role, of course, to come back and play Scott in the sequel that I keep mentioning here throughout the whole situation. So one of the great things about him, one last thing I want to say, is that his father battled Alzheimer's, and he talked about it very openly in one of his interviews. And he said that he stopped drinking and stopped smoking through those 2 years to be better at taking care of him and to look out for himself so he could take care of him and not leave him early because of contracting some disease himself. So, a bully in the movie, not a bully in real life. A really good guy in real life, it seems.
Scott Farkas staring out at us with his yellow eyes. He had yellow eyes, so help me God, yellow eyes.
He does not have yellow eyes. And this actor, for his entire life, has had people come up to him and say, your eyes aren't yellow. Like, that's how strong this language is. And then another kid shows up, which is sort of, there's the big bully, and then there's the little bully that hangs with the big bully. And this is Grover Dill. And they grab Schwartz and now take him out. So Flick got stuck to the pole, and now it's Schwartz's turn to go, uncle, uncle, uncle.
Have you ever had this done? Did you have a bully? Did you have a bully, Steve?
Yes, there is a guy, and I have a story about it later on when we get to this point in the movie. I was bullied, but I was not regularly every morning bullied. If that, I didn't have a specific guy who specifically picked on me every day, but I was picked on.
Yes. Like I said, I had two specific guys. It wasn't every day though, like you say. But it was incredible warfare by them on me in multiple situations. But yeah, which I've talked about before, but yeah. And Scott Farkas certainly feels like that.
In our world, you were either a bully, a toady, or one of the nameless rabble of victims.
And so they run away, abandoning their friend.
Yeah.
And now we're back home, and he's writing his essay on what he wants for Christmas.
I think that everybody should have a Red Ryder BB gun. They're very good for Christmas. I don't think that a football is a very good Christmas present.
And then we hear the narration, which is just, and this is just the magic, I think, of this movie is he's expressing the kid's feelings, but in an adult way.
Oh, rarely had the words poured from my penny pencil with such feverish fluidity.
The old man shows up. He's yelling as he gets out of his car that he's won. We don't know what this means. He's surrounded by dogs.
Aha, the Bumpus hounds. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Our hillbilly neighbors, the Bumpuses, had at least 785 smelly hound dogs. And they ignored every other human being on earth but my old man.
So the Bumpuses are another one of the short stories. So this is an entire short story, and I'm really glad they leave it at the level that it's at in this movie, rather than doing what the Bumpuses are. So they're the hillbilly neighbors, and it's essentially everything they say about them is what you might hear say in an anti-immigrant screed against the people that moved in next door. It is people with different culture, who talk different, who dress different, who eat different food, who smell different, and all they do is make fun of these people. And I don't like this short story, so I'm glad it's handled the way it's handled in the book.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I made your prize. I won. Look at that. Look at a Western Union telegram. Tonight is coming tonight. Hot damn the night.
So this is the trivia he was working on, including, the Lone Ranger's nephew's horse. He has actually won this contest. I think this is going to be really big. We'll start speculating that maybe it's a house, or then there's some conversation about a bowling alley.
How are they going to deliver a bowling alley here tonight?
Well, they could send the deed, for Christ's sake. I mean, I didn't expect they were going to send a whole damn bowling alley.
So he is very excited.
Yeah, and she's less so, which I think is a nice little foreshadowing for when this thing arrives, because she knows he's a guy who's obsessed with get-rich-quick schemes. And that's a thing for some people, for some relationships, for sure.
Of course. Whether it's the lottery tickets or of course. And particularly, they could use it. They could use the help,
Absolutely.
We cut to Randy doing his best Richard Dreyfuss with the mashed potatoes as he's piling them on his plate.
Every family has a kid who won't eat. My kid brother had not eaten voluntarily in over 3 years.
The detail I love in the scene, by the way, is mom sits down and then dad says, "Can I have more red cabbage?" And mom gets up. And then she starts to sit down. And then Ralphie says, "Oh, can I have some more?" And she gets up again.
My mother had not had a hot meal for herself in 15 years.
I think that's a great moment.
Yeah. I remember when I came into my teen years, I would be like, "Mom, sit down and eat with us. Stop trying to get everything to put on the table. Just sit down and eat with us." No, you guys have to have what you need. And so it's like, so I love that line.
It's a little bit of sensitivity to mom.
Meatloaf, double beetloaf. I hate meatloaf.
And dad is pulling out, he's like going to pull out the tools to force this kid to eat some food.
My mother was more subtle.
How do the little piggies go?
That's right. Oink, oink. Now, show me how the piggies eat. This is your trough.
And that kid sticks his face in the food and just has a grand old time. And mom is laughing, watching him smear his face with all this food. And dad is watching, just completely disgusted. And it's a pretty funny scene.
Yeah, I love that. It's a great window into the relationship of this house, right? I love it. Yeah.
Well, and this is the classic parenting choice.
Yeah.
Do I get them to do exactly what they're supposed to do and use discipline and be a hard ass? Or do I make it fun so they get the thing that I want them to get, which is to actually eat some food, but they don't do it in the right way? And there's no right decision. You're going to make a call, and sometimes mom makes one call and dad makes another call. That's how parenting works. Yeah. And then, John, there is a knock on the door. And the reaction around the room.
It is here.
There's a delivery man, and we see the big, oversized wood box.
Fragile. It must be Italian.
I think that says fragile, honey.
Oh, yeah.
That was a joke figured out on the set.
By the way, I love the interaction he has with the delivery guy. Because what does he say? What's in it? I don't know. He goes, "What do you think's in here?" And he gives him the look of like, "You idiot. I already just answered your question."
Don't know.
Those little moments decorate this film and make it like authentic. So I love that.
So he's cracking open this box, and we're pulling out some straw and some paper, and we're trying to get to what's in there. And
would you look at that?
And he pulls out that leg. And I love that this kind of sexy sort of burlesque style music starts playing as soon as we see it.
What is it?
Wait, it's a leg.
And Ralphie reaches up to touch the glory of the leg. Mom is not happy about it at all.
Such a great little moment. His hand going right up and she's smacking it down.
Holy smoke with you. Do you know what this is? This is a lamp.
By the way, so Bob Clark did not let any of the cast, particularly the kids, see this lamp until the day.
Oh, that's smart.
And we should say the leg lamp is a serious item. They built a factory to build leg lamps because they sell them all the time. Someone built a 50-foot statue of the Christmas Story leg lamp in Chickasaw, Oklahoma. You could go visit it right now.
Wow. Chickasaw. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's how much people love this movie, you know?
Yeah, true, very true.
The old man's eyes boggled,
Oh, wow.
overcome by art.
And I know just the place for it. Right in the middle of our front room window.
And you're watching mom be like, baby. I love the 9 million plugs in the outlet.
Oh, dude. See, you didn't grow up poor, Steve. These are things
no, we had 9 million plugs in the outlet too. It's not a poor thing.
I think it is a poor thing, but okay, fair. Well, maybe it's a cheap thing. How about that? Maybe it's a cheap thing. Well, you could be rich or poor and be cheap. So it's a cheap thing.
They didn't have those power strips that you buy for $10 that you could. We didn't have those. So you had. Remember the little thing was like a little box, and it had like you could plug in on 3 different sides. And
Yes.
then there was also the one that some of them were grounded and had the third prong and some didn't. And you had these plugs. And it was also the fabric cable, which meant that it frayed. I'm sure, my guess is you got in trouble. A guy got in trouble for pulling a cable out by the cord.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to break it or you're going to yank the cord out wrong or whatever. Yeah, 100%. And you're going to pull out other stuff. Yeah.
So while our experiences were certainly different growing up, there's still a fair amount of overlap.
Sure.
And of course, as we're plugging things in, there's sparks and stuff like that because this is all dangerous. Like kids today don't understand that the world was so much more chaotic in some ways.
It's indescribably beautiful. It reminds me of the 4th of July. Turn off all the lights. I want to see what it looks like from the street.
This is peak old man right now.
Oh yeah.
So he goes outside to look at the leg, and a neighbor comes up who to talk to him, and that neighbor is Bob Clark, the director of the film.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah, but what is that? It's a major award. A major award?
Shucks, I wouldn't have known, Dad. It looks like a lamp.
Well, it is a lamp, you nincompoop, but it's a major award. I won it.
Did your dad ever brag about things to the neighborhood when he had them, or no?
That's a good question. No, I don't think so. No, that wouldn't have been it. That wouldn't have been what my dad would do.
Right on. Right on.
But he's certainly like my dad. On the weekends, there were projects, and he would pull all the weeds, and he would do work around the house, and there was just 100%. Always stuff, which I was always roped into doing.
Yes,
I remember one time my dad. He was pulling weed. We were in the garden. He was a lot of working in the garden at my house. And so he was pulling weeds, and he said, why don't I pull weeds and you bag the weeds? And we're in this one like part of the hill, and I'm bagging weeds. And I'm like, Dad, I'm probably 11. And I'm like, or 12. And I went, Dad, I am so much faster at bagging weeds than you are at picking weeds. And my dad turned to me and said, really? Do you want to make a bet? Never, ever take the bet. If my dad said, do you want to make a bet? And I said, yeah, we bet like, $2 or something. That was a lot of money for me.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, great. And he went and he grabbed a big hefty bag. And then he walked to a different part of the hill. And I said, but Dad, why aren't we doing right here? He's like, you didn't say where I was pulling weeds. And we went over to, instead of pulling like the little 1 or 2 inch weeds that you really kind of have to get a good grip on and pulling out.
Yeah.
He went over to the part of my parents' garden where there's the 3 foot tall, just bunches of weeds, and my dad just starts grabbing and go pull. And he made like 4 bags worth of weeds in like 5 minutes, and then looked at me. He's like, pay up. So that was how my dad showed off. It wasn't through stuff. It was through beating you at something.
Yeah. Competitiveness.
And I do think this lamp looks great from the street.
It could be seen up and down Cleveland Street, the symbol of the old man's victory.
Yeah, he won that. It's a major award.
And then it's time for favorite radio program, and the kids run in to sit down in front of this super cool old-fashioned big console radio. This was hard to get all these really, really accurate props.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they listened to a bit of Little Orphan Annie, sponsored very importantly by Ovaltine. Then we cut to fast motion of them being chased by the bully. This is something we're going to repeat. We go back to class where everyone's turning in their papers.
I knew I was handing Miss Shields a masterpiece. Maybe Miss Shields in her ecstasy would excuse me from theme writing for the rest of my natural life.
And the music builds, and we cut to the fantasy of the teacher dressed in sort of Gilded Age clothing, marking F's on every single paper until she comes to Ralphie's, and the music comes in, and she's deeply moved. It's, by the way, the theme from Romeo and Juliet is what this music is.
Listen to this sentence. A Red Ryder BB gun with a compass in the stock and this thing which tells time. Poetry. Sheer poetry. Ralph. An A+, my Ralph.
And she is overcome with enthusiasm and writes A+++ on the doors. The kids rise in cheers. And I mean, this is an amazing moment for him.
I love this. I love this stuff, Sam. I love these little vignettes because as great as Gene's voiceover and words are in the voiceover to like decorate what we're seeing, the visuals that Bob Clark does in these moments are so funny. Like just very funny as a director, adding this kind of stuff and getting the actors to commit to playing this stuff is hilarious. I mean, her just she looks like something out of the Gilded Age, really like the show that's on now on HBO Max, like offended by what's being handed to her. And then she's so, but these are the fantasies you have as a kid, right? You think you can just kind of convince them of one thing or another. And certainly seeing the reactions throughout, I think is really one of the funniest moments of the movie.
It's scenes like this that make me really think that had I seen it at the right age, had I watched this when I was a younger kid, it would because this is me. I mean, like I've said many times, I had a seriously overactive imagination. I lived in lots of fantasy worlds all the time. When my parents moved into the house when I was about 8, that where my mom still lives to this day, on the hill behind the house, there was like a wooden box. It was like, 3 pieces of plywood over some dirt that was sitting there. And that box for me was a submarine and a spaceship and a horse and the control center for whatever. I would go up because at a certain point I didn't have a lot of friends. It sounds sad, but I go, okay, I'm going to go sit in the box. And I would just sit there imagining all sorts of worlds all the time.
Yeah.
My mother was about to make another brilliant maneuver in the legendary Battle of the Lamp. The epic struggle which followed lives in the folklore of Cleveland Street to this very day.
It's what he captures so well is the epicness of childhood.
Yeah.
It's a tiny little thing, but it takes on huge stature in the view of the child.
Everything's important when you're a kid. Everything. Yeah.
And they're heading out to get in the car, and mom runs back in to turn off the lamp because she doesn't want to waste electricity. We're at the tree lot bargaining for the tree with the dude that wants to sell them the trees with the needles all falling out or the big holes in it, get more money out of them.
I never thought about this experience until the last few years when I bought real trees. Like you got to be real picky. And they're always trying to sell you whatever. It's like buying a car. You got to be real picky. You got to know how to talk to the salesman. And you got to know how to knock a few dollars off, always, every time.
The old man loved bargaining as much as an Arab trader, and he was twice as shrewd.
Well, and I know you love bargaining. My dad loves bargaining.
Hell yes.
Hate it. Just give me the price. I don't want to argue about it.
No, I love it.
And dad's move, which I love, is like, hey, those artificial trees are really good. And immediately the guy goes, hey, let's make a deal.
Yep.
We're driving. The kids are singing Jingle Bells with mom at the top of their lungs, and you can see old man's face like, this is what dad has to endure when dad is driving the car. I have been here so many. I was literally there yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I picked up my son from school, and his best friend gets in my car. And Jax goes, we're taking Liam home. And I'm like, really? And I texted Liam's dad, who's very nice. And he said, sure, take him. So I take Liam home.
Don't bring him back.
They were pretty much. He did spend the night. He left here like an hour ago. And pretty much they were just screaming at the top of their lungs. And I'm not going to describe in any way what 14-year-old boys find amusing.
Right.
But it is not PG. I'll tell you that right now. And at the end of the song, which I love, by the way, Melinda Dillon's little raspberry as she's singing the end of the song. She's very cute. And then we have a blowout. We pull over. This is definitely my dad saying, time me, as he gets out of the car to fix the tire. Right. My dad 100% would go time me. Totally.
Wow.
Well, think about the picking weeds story. It's like that fits exactly in my dad's extremely competitive nature.
That's true. Good point. Yeah.
Actually, my old man loved it. He always saw himself in the pits at the Indianapolis Speedway in the 500.
And we also find out that these are all used tires. Like they are to save money. They can't go out and buy a new tire. So they're, and I think that's a really important detail.
Ralphie, why don't you go help your father?
Really? Can I?
Yeah.
And this is an amazing moment.
It was the first time that it had been suggested that I go help my father with anything.
I can't remember liking ever helping my father with anything. And I love my dad. But again, I'm not technically proficient at all this shit. So it would just be my dad going, bring me a 9/10 wrench or whatever the fuck it is. And I have no idea what the fuck it was. And then he'd be like, it's on top. It's the one on top. And I'd be like, Dad, I don't know. And I would just bring him the whole toolbox every time because I was never good at it. So where Ralphie is excited to do this, I would have been dreading it 100%.
I think I had my experience. It's like we said before when we were talking. I think my experiences were more mixed because there was sort of some fun. There was sort of like the excitement to be doing sort of more grown up things. My dad, not surprisingly, very much a teacher, and very much you're going to find out exactly what you did wrong and exactly how you should have done it and exactly how you might want to do it next time. Yeah. And my dad was right. This is the frustrating thing about my father.
Yeah, right.
He was almost always right, and it was not always so fun, you know?
Yeah, I can imagine.
So he's sitting there. Dad's pulled out the lug nuts. He's handed him the hubcap. They put the lug nuts in the hubcap. And you could see Ralphie's just, I can't mess this up. I just want to, this is such an important, a huge moment for me. And then Dad reaches, and it's Dad's fault, by the way. Dad hits this hubcap. Ralphie didn't hit it.
There we go.
Oh, for one brief moment, I saw all the bolts silhouetted against the lights of the traffic, and then they were gone.
And the camera zooms in on Ralphie, who says,
Oh, fudge.
Only I didn't say fudge. I said the word, the big one, the queen mother of dirty words, the F-dash word.
What did you say?
First of all, he did say, Peter Billingsley did say fuck on set a couple of times when they were shooting this, which I think is funny.
That is funny.
How bad were those words? Because you grew up in a family where English wasn't always the main language. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I never learned to cuss in Spanish. So those words were bad. And I'm sure I've said this before, but I didn't say them until I was a teenager, like 15, 16 years old, because of Eddie Murphy. Right. I had a friend who lived down the street who had the Eddie Murphy tape Delirious, not the special that you see on TV, because it was a tape that was much more condensed. And I would listen to it religiously when I went over to his house. I can't remember the kid's name now, but like I would walk to his house and we would sit there and listen to Eddie all the time. And I learned how to cuss because of Eddie Murphy. And so they started slipping out when I was in my teens, 15, 16 years old. My dad was not happy about it because I went through a pretty rebellious phase where I was staying out late with this Catholic youth organization and the kids there who were slightly older than me. So yeah, that's how I remember. I don't remember saying it as a kid or ever repeating my father's words. And my father cussed all the time in Spanish, Jesus Christ. But I don't recall ever repeating them, in a moment of anger or something.
It's so funny thinking about, because the world's changed so much, is that when I was a kid, you started to hear these. I mean, I had heard some of these words at 5 or 6,
sure.
Because you kind of hear them. And then with kids, it's like you would go up to your friend and you go, hee, 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 and then you would say one because it was so naughty. A teacher couldn't see you. Like, that's what's so different about the world today. Like swearing is just way, way more accepted as on our podcast, Mm-hmm. But at the time, this was like forbidden. And I did not swear in front of my parents until high school. And then it was like a big deal. And my parents never swore. My parents didn't swear at all. Maybe I would hear my dad do a mild damn or something, but almost never with like the big words. Wow. But this is huge. I mean, and the biggest reaction, of course, is from Ralphie, who realizes what he's done.
It was all over. I was dead. What would it be? The guillotine, hanging, the chair, the rack, the Chinese water torture? Mere child's play compared to what surely awaited me.
They get in the car. I like that Mom did time him, and it was 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Not a good time.
You know what your son just said?
No, what?
He leans in and whispers, and Mom screams.
Ralphie!
Yes. Oh, so good. Her reaction is so fantastic, man. I love it.
Cut to Ralphie with the big bar of soap in his mouth. Again, I'm asking the question, did you get your mouth washed out with soap?
No. My parents never did that. That's not something
I got it twice.
Oh, really?
Twice. Yeah, not the bar in my mouth, but literally get soapy suds and wash the inside of your mouth. That was it happened. And once was my grandparents, my mom's parents, because I had said somehow one of these words popped out of my mouth. And one was at my house, and I don't remember the cause, but that definitely happened. And it is horrible, by the way.
Over the years, I got to be quite a connoisseur of soap. My personal preference is for Lux, but I found Palmolive had a nice, piquant after-dinner flavor, heady, but with just a touch of mellow smoothness. Lifebuoy, on the other hand.
I remember Lifebuoy. Do you remember Lifebuoy?
No, I don't.
Yeah. I think it was a red package. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we should find it and give it a taste. You never know.
Nope. I'm good.
Where did you hear that word?
I think this is a key kid thing.
Yeah.
Of you can't is why kids lie all the time. They understand the system that they're in.
Yes.
And he knows what he can and can't say.
Now, I had heard that word at least 10 times a day from my old man. My father worked in profanity the way other artists might work in oils or clay. It was his true medium, a master. But I chickened out, and I blurted out the first name that came to mind.
Schwartz!
Oh, I see.
We walked away from Flick, whose tongue was stuck to the pole.
Yes.
We ran away from Schwartz when he's getting beat up by Scott Farkas.
Yeah.
And now totally throw Schwartz under the bus.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
I
don't think he knew what his mom was going to do. So I don't think he was setting up the kid to necessarily get what happens to him in a second. But like, it's so funny to see the result.
Well, it's funny. Knowing now what I know is that the frontal cortex of your brain is the last part to develop. And that is where executive function lives. And that's where you can see into the future to think about consequences. And it particularly develops even later for men. Like women develop this earlier. So the 6-year-old boy, Ralphie, he can't think 5 minutes in advance. He has not yet developed that. He is in this moment right now. I cannot say that dad taught me that I learned this word from dad. I got to do something. Yeah. That's what he does. But she puts the soap back in his mouth, which by the way is a bar of red wax. It's not actually soap in case anyone was concerned about it. And she goes over to the phone, calls up Mrs. Schwartz, says, do you know what Ralph just said?
Father. No. He heard it from your son. What?
And then you hear fantastic over the receiver sounds.
Yes.
I don't mean it's fantastic that you hear sounds of a young boy being beaten totally unjustly. I don't think that's fantastic. But filmically, it works really, really well.
Just this, it's almost like a witch sound shrill. You know, what? And then her hearing the footsteps is great, which, is so smart filmmaking wise, because clearly, as you said, this is a guy that's like prairie home companion, right? Gene. So adding the footsteps noise, the Foley of the footsteps is so perfect to make it feel like that kind of presentation. And then to hear the slaps and the poor kid out of nowhere, he's probably just sitting there reading his book.
Yeah, he did nothing.
Or doing whatever. And he is just getting beat to pieces. And all he can say is, I didn't do nothing. What did I do? And pleading to his mom, like not knowing what he did wrong. But he learned young in life, I guess, that, sometimes you just don't know what you do wrong as a man and you're going to get beat for it. So.
Boy, that's some dark stuff, but it's totally true. Sometimes you're just going to have to take a beating and you're not even going to get to know why. That's life.
That's life, kid.
Well, so speaking of, I don't know how to make this transition exactly, but I have some information from Bob Clark, the director, that can potentially ruin this movie for you. Would you like me to tell you this information?
I guess so. We don't shy away from those things here on the Cine-Files.
In Bob Clark's headcanon,
yes,
the kids in A Christmas Story grow up to be the teenagers in Porky's.
Oh, wow.
See, I don't want to know that.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that. Yeah.
I love, by the way, after Ralphie gets sent to bed, that mom is there, takes a look at the soap, decides to give it a little taste, puts it in her mouth, and immediately spits out.
Yeah.
Ralphie's in bed with tears, which, by the way, Peter Billingsley said that these were real tears.
Good luck.
There has never been a kid who didn't believe, vaguely but insistently, that he would be stricken blind before he reached 21, and then they'd be sorry.
Dissolve 2, Ralphie is a blind man.
This is great.
It's really cute.
I love the music, the dramatic music, and then him just walking. It was the soap. Oh,
well, and Melinda Dillon and Darren McGavin like are fully embracing the ridiculousness of what is required for this thing.
It's so great, and they're treating him like he's like their 20-year-old or 24-year-old son coming back.
Why, it's Ralph!
Come on in, Ralph. Where you been?
It's like he's visiting home, and then they notice he's blind. And I love his little brother coming in and hugging his legs to add to the dramatic nature of this whole thing. It's genius.
And it totally folds into a thought that I'm just going to guess every human has had one version of this or another of you don't appreciate me now, but when I'm not around, when you don't have me, when I can't save your ass, when I'm dead, when I'm blind, when I'm whatever, you are going to realize what you've done, you know?
And you're gonna miss me. Yeah,
exactly. Again, we're chased by bullies. The teacher is being presented with presents. It's apple, apple, apple. Ginormous fruit basket. So big it actually blocks Ralphie's face.
Well, I just thought that you'd be getting tired of the same old stuff.
Yes, truly, a little bribe never hurts.
Well, thank you very much, Ralph.
And he winks because he's playing this whole game that she has no idea about.
Yeah.
And finally, as he's just looking goofy as hell,
You can take your seat now, Ralph.
and he finally heads back to his seat. Again, chased by bullies.
Yes.
By the way, so the entire time they're in Cleveland, no snow. Did not snow.
Shit.
It's cold. No snow. All the snow you see is manufactured. It's not, fortunately, asbestos, as it was in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
It's actually ice. But it meant that they had to run the big snowmaking machines all night.
Oh.
And they went to their neighbors and like, we need to run these machines all night to get the snow. And it's like, it is going to be kind of loud. And the neighbors in Cleveland, the nice neighbors went, well, that's okay. We hope you have a great shoot and good luck with your movie.
Oh.
That would never happen in Los Angeles.
No.
People are much nicer to film crews when they aren't around them all the time. And he gets to the mailbox, and where before he had been hoping to get this little orphan Annie decoder ring, now he finally has gotten it.
Be it known to all and sundry that Ralph Parker is hereby appointed a member of the Little Orphan Annie Secret Circle and is entitled to all the honors and benefits occurring thereto.
And he listens to the radio show, and he hears them give the code that he needs to get the secret message as part of the secret meeting.
90 seconds later, I'm in the only room in the house where a boy of 9 could sit in privacy and decode. Aha, B. I went to the next. E.
And then Mom and Randy come because Randy's got to use the bathroom, and they're banging on the door, and he's on a secret mission to finish this very important code.
Almost there. My fingers flew. My mind was a steel trap. Every pore vibrated. It was almost clear. Yes, 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 yes.
And we see the message. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine.
Ovaltine? A crummy commercial? Son of a bitch.
I love that although he's not great at manipulating people until the end when he does with the icicle thing, he is beginning to like have his own thoughts, right? And have his own feelings about the situation. And so to be disappointed by this and then to blurt out son of a bitch as like a thing of reference in his mind, I think is hilarious, you know? And again, the film is full of these fun little moments, but there are also these like coming of age moments. Yes, kid, sometimes the things you believe in, when you were a kid, they were these pure things. But as you get a little older, you realize it's all a scam and it's all advertising. None of it is real. And you're just a mark for these programs and these ad agencies. So I love this moment for that. It's like a wake-up call to him to a degree.
So 2 things about this. One is son of a bitch is one of the biggest laughs in the movie.
Of course.
I mean, a huge, huge laugh. The second thing is a weird thing about parenting, man, that it's going to sound cruel and terrible what I'm about to say, but there is a certain, not only pleasure, but anticipation of when your certain bubbles get burst by your kid.
Oh,
and
yeah.
This is one. Because your kid will come in with a fantasy, But when they're really little, it's like, can we rent an RV and drive around the whole planet? And you're like, no, we can't do that. And they're like, why not? And you're like, and so when reality comes in and they realize, oh no, you can't do that. You feel better because you're not having these things. I think this moment of I think this is the whole world of advertising and manipulation comes clear to Ralphie in this moment. They made you do this whole thing. They made you work hard to send away for the thing. They made you believe that the thing was special, and then they gave you a commercial.
Exactly. Like I said, a coming of age moment for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're back in the kitchen. By the way, one thing Bob Clark said that I thought was interesting was that when part of his prep process was he writes down every shot on an index card, including all the details of what is important about this shot, what he wants to remember, what he wants to do, beginnings and ends, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then he took those index cards and he showed them to the entire cast and crew every morning when they got on set.
Oh, wow.
So everybody knew this is the plan. This is what we're trying to do.
Right.
That's where we're going.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think it's always good to involve your actors and stuff.
What happened next was a family controversy for years.
And we hear noises from Dad, who's downstairs battling with the furnace. And as this is happening, we hear a crash. And Dad runs upstairs.
What broke?
And Mom is cradling the broken leg lamp. The music is super dramatic. He goes over, taking his gloves off to cradle the blessed lamp in his arms. John, did Mom break the lamp on purpose?
It's a great question. The movie basically insinuates that she does, because if you watch Melinda Dillon, before she goes around the corner out of frame, she has a smirk on her face or a smile on her face. And so I have a feeling that the movie wants you to believe that she did it on purpose. But it was for the greater good of the family to get rid of that thing. So
I think that's probably, what the movie is implying. I kind of don't think she did it. That's
really?
Well, there's so much about her, like the piggy scene and the scene at the end of the Chinese restaurant. She has such a joy and laughter of being, like, I don't actually see her character as concerned about appearances as the movie wants us to believe, I guess.
Well, that's interesting. Well, but she reacts to the lamp and she's telling him to
definitely. She doesn't like the lamp. I agree. But Dad is mad.
Oh my God. Despondent.
Did you touch that? You were always jealous of this lamp.
Jealous of a plastic lamp?
Jealous because I won.
That's ridiculous. Jealous of what? That is the ugliest lamp I have ever seen in my entire life.
Now it was out.
I love Dad's, get the glue.
And she says, we're out.
You used up all the glue on purpose.
The old man stood quivering with fury, stammering as he tried to come up with a real crusher. All he got out was,
not a finger!
Later, we cut to the lamp. It's all glued together, and he tries to put the shade on it, and the whole thing collapses. Mom laughs.
With as much dignity as he could muster, the old man gathered up the sad remains of his shattered major award. Later that night, alone in the backyard, he buried it next to the garage.
Now I could never be sure, but I thought that I heard the sound of taps being played. Gently.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is great. I like that it's a controversy. I like that he reacts the way he reacts to it, because they have so little in life, at least from what we see in the movie, right? For him to win this, it was symbolic of like the frustration of men from that age, probably, who like never really accomplished anything, but always wanted to be bigger, wanted to be richer, it's that quiet frustration of the working class life. And so the representation, although that lamp is what that lamp is, I don't think he ever saw it as this kind of what does he call it? Sexual light in the window or whatever. The light of sex in the window. For him, it was a trophy.
Yeah,
Nothing
he won.
else. Just because it was a leg with a stocking on it or fishnet stocking, it's irrelevant. As you said, Steve, he won. And for it to be broken and crashed like this, it's like symbolic of his life, so that's why his reaction, although comical, underneath it, I think there's a real level of sadness and anger to it all, which is why He plays taps. Which
I
is
mean,
great.
frankly, as a dad, when you're the old man, your job a lot of the time, and this is obviously traditional gender roles, but your job all the time is to be supporting everybody else in the family. That's how it feels. Is like, there's a problem. Your job is to go fix it. You know, and your job is not, and there are other people that are going to get more attention than dad, and there are other people that are going to have more needs than dad, and dad is just there quietly driving the car and picking up the thing and running there and fixing the thing. And so when dad gets a thing that he can treasure, like I believe if the old man was walking by the lamp store and they say, hey, we got a sale on leg lamps right now, he wouldn't be interested. If
Not
they
at
said,
all.
could I give you a leg lamp? He's like, why would I want that?
Right.
He won a major award.
Yes.
That's what this is about.
Right. In his mind, which is, I mean, yes, exactly. 100%.
And by the way, this is a good example of, this is one of Shepard's vignettes. This is the end of one of the short stories. So like if you picture the leg lamp as a short story and you just had the beginnings of it where he talks about contests and the horse, and then you have him getting the award, and then you have the electricity moment, and then you have the breaking and burying of the leg lamp. That is the whole short story that has been spread out over this movie to fit. And we can't make it to school, obviously, without another run-in with our bullies. And in this case, and it's so funny, it's just like, these kids are not going to stick together. They are going to frequently leave one man behind. And in this case, again, it's Flick who's going to get it.
It's survival of the fittest, man. And sometimes it's your turn on the wheel, and sometimes it's not your turn on the wheel. And the longer you stick around, the sooner it'll be your time on the wheel. So if someone else gets sacrificed, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it always was.
Little known fact, it really wasn't Darwin's journey on the Beagle to the Galapagos Islands that really cemented his understanding of evolution. He was just watching kids at play.
Hey, it's the same thing, I think.
And now the moment has come, John. The moment of truth. The teacher is handing out papers, and he is so sure that this is going to solidify his plans to get that BB gun, and he gets a C+.
C+. Oh! How about you, Steve? Were you a B student? Were you a C student in any subjects? What was your?
I was a BC student. I was not a good student. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was dyslexic, which wasn't diagnosed till later. And I couldn't, my handwriting was so terrible, nobody could read it. I couldn't spell and I couldn't punctuate. I had tutors through most of my kidhood.
Wow.
Because it was always, Steve is so smart. Why isn't he applying himself? Steve doesn't work hard. And these are the things that has haunted me my entire life.
Wow.
You know, was the sort of, and it was only later that it's like, oh, I was dyslexic and I didn't, I really didn't get school until much later, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I was an A-B student for the most part because C's were not allowed in my house because there was all that pressure of like, you are the first generation of an immigrant family born in this country. You must shine for all of us. And that pressure just kind of snapped me in half my first trip through college. So I hear you, man. Those things you kind of develop when you're younger. And I'm still trying to prove how smart I am all the time. And when people attack my intelligence, nothing like makes me more insane or aggravates me more than that. So being on camera on YouTube is not the best place when you have issues like that, because people do love to prod your intelligence on things. So I hear you, man. I hear you.
It's so funny how you clearly you and I are both still haunted by kid stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that happened. Like for me, you know, my sister's 3.5 years older. So all my teachers had my sister before. And my sister was a straight A student. I think my sister was like, I think she just missed out on being the valedictorian of the high school. Like she was like, you know, like she got an A- on something or something like that. Yeah. And so all my teachers were just like, oh, good, another Morris kid. Well, I'm sure you'll be an straight A student too. And my dad, you know, and he thought this was funny. This was a classic joke in my house. If I came home and said, Dad, I got a 95 on the test, it was always, why didn't you get 100?
Yeah, of course. Oh.
You know?
Yeah. Parents don't know how much that affects their kids. Parents from that generation, they don't know how much it affected us. It was a different time, you know.
But, you know, like I, as a kid who really didn't know how to work or have good work ethics or know how to study or anything like that, as a grown-up became an extreme studier, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so that's one thing I always think of to some degree about our trauma. They make us who we are, good and bad,
Good and bad. Yeah. And listen, it happens across the board. Even if you fixed everything and supposedly had the most joyous, uplifting, and caring society, you would still have some semblance of trauma that would affect us in the future. So you're never getting rid of that. That's kind of how we're made, how we're born to be made, really.
Yeah, and using that word trauma, I want to make very clear, I'm not comparing my childhood to people that experienced really, really horrific stuff. That's not the case. But things in my childhood have certainly haunted me,
Yeah, we can only speak from our own experiences for sure, yeah.
And then this is the capper. He looks down that paper, and not only did he get a C+, but the teacher wrote to him, P.S. You'll shoot your eye out.
My mother must have gotten to Miss Shields. There could be no other explanation.
That's the conspiracy mindset, actually.
Of course. It is the conspiracy.
This is what I see every day on Twitter. There could be no other explanation.
It is as childish on Twitter as it is in this movie. Yes.
And now we see his vision of his teacher dressed as the Wicked Witch, and there is his mom who dresses a Harley Quinn who's gotten to her.
You know what's crazy? Getting older, Steve, I look back on these movies now and I find some of the older actresses attractive. You know, this is a weird experience for me over the last few years, like going back to watch old movies from the 80s, because I think Melinda Dillon is very attractive in this movie. She is cute. She's funny. Even in the Harley Quinn outfit, I'm like, oh, that's a little cosplay. That's cute. And so it's an interesting experience to see this stuff, because when I was a kid, I didn't find like Dee Wallace or Melinda, any of the moms in the movies. I wasn't even thinking about that, right? I was more looking at the 15-year-old girls or 12-year-old girls because I was 15 or 12 when I was seeing them in those movies and seeing, all that. Now that I'm older, I look back and go, these are, so attractive moms. So anyway, a little diatribe there on mine.
But it's funny. This is the second time you brought this up. I can't remember the other one. There was another movie where...
Really? Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make it a thing.
No, because I want to point out something very important to you. Yes. What you find strange is that you now find these older women attractive as you are older. And what you should realize, imagine if you were still looking at those 12 and 15-year-olds.
Oh, well, of course. Yeah.
This is the thing. You've grown older. So that is the natural, healthy thing what you look at has changed, as it should.
Yeah. And I love my Lady Outlaw. Let's not get it twisted. But I just find myself going, wow, I didn't even remotely think these women were attractive when I was a kid. But yeah.
So Ralphie, now wrecked, again, walking home from school. And what always happens on the transition from school to home? The bullies are going to show up.
This is a great setup, Steve. Don't you think? Like, he's been trying to get this thing, and now yet another person has let him down, and now here come the bullies. So the way the film is constructed is so smart. They don't linger on the bully moments consistently. By having them have the fast motion montage bully moments, you as the audience are like, okay, another bully scene. Oh God, the bully's still there. The bully's still present. But if they made these things regular speed, every one of these scenes, we might get a little annoyed and it might lose its effect. The fact that we've only had a couple of scenes where we've seen what the bullies do by this point, but we've seen them be a presence because of the montage stuff, it allows us to build to this moment where Ralphie is despondent, walking here, and he's about to get the full treatment from Scott Farkas here.
Well, and it's perfect plants and payoffs because we've been planting the bully and the relationship with the bully.
Yep.
And simultaneously planting the BB gun and the vast importance of that thing. And so now we have the collision of an emotional moment because he is wrecked because of the paper, and the physical moment because he's going to run into the bully. And cut to Ralphie, and he has an entirely different experience. I think Peter Billingsley does a great performance here.
100%.
This is like Michael Douglas in Falling Down. Like, this is a person right at their breaking point, and they are being messed with by the wrong guy at the wrong moment.
How much for the soda? How much for the soda?
What, are you gonna cry now? Come on, cry, baby, cry for me. Come on, cry.
Deep in the recesses of my brain, a tiny red-hot little flame began to grow.
And then little Ralphie goes nuts. Leaps on a Scott Farkas, just destroys him.
Literally, the word pummeling comes to mind because that is what he's doing. And it is for a long time. Like he beats this kid for a long time before his mom shows up.
Honestly, it's an uncomfortably long time. I mean, there's a certain point where you're like, even if, I mean, Scott Farkas is a lot bigger than Ralphie, but he's not getting up. And this kid is continually hitting him in the face. And I like, all the other kids have gathered around to watch. And by the way, one of the kids, there's a little girl standing in the background.
Oh.
And when she grew up, she had a kid, because people do that. And that kid acted in a movie called Baby Geniuses, also directed by Bob Clark.
Oh.
So there's a connection there. And Baby Geniuses, my ex Karen worked on. She was one of the accountants on Baby Geniuses. So she worked with Bob Clark.
Nice.
I have since heard of people under extreme duress speaking in strange tongues. I became conscious that a steady torrent of obscenities and swearing of all kinds was pouring out of me as I screamed.
And the looks that come over the kids' faces as they hear, the old man swears coming out of Ralphie is awesome. Finally, Mom runs up and she's trying to pull him away. Apparently, she had a really hard time getting Peter Billingsley was method acting here,
I think this whole sequence is great. The fact that his little brother goes to get their mom, she shows up and he is an audience. He is now in power, right? I love the moment where his two friends are like trying to shut him up because the mom is showing up. And then the moment where Peter Billingsley gets shaken out of his rage and then immediately breaks down and cries. That's such a smart construction of this scene because that's what would happen emotionally. After you've spent all your nerd rage, you go into this trance. I've gone red. I know what it's like. And when you come out, it's like you've been in a trance. And the first thing you want to do is seek comfort because it's so unsettling to go into that place. And so I love the moment that he just kind of stops, registers his mom, and then breaks down in her arms. It's so sweet. And so when they end up in the bathroom, it's no surprise that she's much more receptive to taking care of him than she was with the bar of soap because, this is what a mom's supposed to do in the moment when she sees her child. And she knows growing up at that time what little boys have to go through, unfortunately, with bullies and things of that nature,
The light was getting purple and soft outside. Almost time for my father to come home from work.
Did you dread when Dad was coming home?
Fuck yeah, man. I mean, when I did something wrong, oh yeah, dude, it is. And those hours are interminable, Steve. I'm sure you had the same experience. Like, you're just like, oh man. And you try to distract yourself. You watch cartoons or something, but the impending doom is coming. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my doom was not generally physical, but there was a decided difference between the what happened when Mom came down on you and what happened when Dad came down on you.
Yeah. 100%.
And of course, Ralphie's not the only one worrying about this because down in the kitchen, Mom hears crying and goes and knocks on the cabinet, and there is little Randy sitting under the sink.
What's the matter? What you crying for?
Daddy's gonna kill Ralphie.
Oh, no, he's not.
Yes, he is too.
No, he's not. I promise you, Daddy is not going to kill Ralphie.
There's big stuff going on.
I know, but it's a family, and I love that. It's the little brother having love for Ralphie. Even though Ralphie's been like kind of giving him shit through the whole movie, he still loves his older brother and worries for him. It's very sweet.
And we hear the car pull up, and the dogs are barking at the old man. And it's just this feeling of dread. I mean, Ralphie comes out, looking like he's walking to the gallows.
Yeah.
He sits down at the dinner table and asks what's happened. And this first question is, where's your glasses? Which immediately, this is the first sign of the terribleness.
Remember, you left these on the radio again. Now try not to do that anymore.
Which is a clear lie.
Yeah.
Mom just lied to Dad for Ralphie.
Yep.
So what else happened today?
Oh, nothing much. Ralphie had a fight.
A fight? What kind of a fight?
Oh, you know how boys are. I gave him a talking to.
And Ralphie's look at what's happening?
Well, because he has felt that no one's been on his side, right, Steve, with the Red Ryder stuff. His mom was the first one to start to shoot your eye out stuff. And so in this moment where he's had a massive fight with a bully and the teacher who he thought was his last attempt to maybe get this rifle, here comes this this surprising ally to help him out of this situation and save him from his dad's possible anger.
Yeah. And then to seal the deal, she distracts Dad.
I see that the Bears are playing Green Bay on Sunday.
Now, does Mom have any interest in the Bears in Green Bay?
No, not at all. She didn't even know who the Red Sox players were earlier in the movie. So, yeah.
I slowly began to realize I was not about to be destroyed. From then on, things were different between me and my mother.
Oh, man. You have those moments.
It's great.
I know. Ironically, the Bears are playing Green Bay today as we're recording, so it's a very perfect timing.
Well, there you go.
Strange. Even something as monumental as the Scott Farkas affair, as it came to be known, was pushed out of my mind as I struggled for a way out of the impenetrable BB gun web in which my mother had me trapped.
Santa. Yeah, Santa.
Did you write letters to Santa or things like that?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure I did when I was young. I don't remember, but I'm sure I did. You know what I'm saying? But I knew like at 7 or 8 that there was no Santa. It was pretty early on.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Watching TV. Like I said, my parents, as immigrants to the country, they wanted me to learn English quickly without an accent because they had experienced racism in this country because of speaking with an accent. So they didn't want their son to have an accent. So they would sit me in front of the television, as I've talked about many, many times, and just watch hours and hours of television and movies or whatever. So the Santa thing was ruined for me pretty early because of a movie or a TV show or some comment from something. So, yeah. But, it is what it is.
It's funny. We've discussed many things that were different and some obviously advantages I had growing up to you. The idea of parents forcing me to watch TV. That is the most.
Well, don't get it twisted. I wasn't forced. I was very happy to do it.
You were encouraged.
Yes, encouraged.
That TV is going off right now. Have you done no more TV? No TV today. No TV this weekend. Can watch. No. TV was very restricted. So I'm definitely jealous of that. Now we head to the town square to watch the big Christmas parade. By the way, so we see both, which is funny because we just did the Wizard of Oz, that we see both Wizard of Oz characters and Mickey Mouse. Now, this is an MGM movie, so they had no concerns about whether or not they could have the rights to the Wizard of Oz characters.
Right.
They didn't even ask Disney. They just shot Mickey Mouse, which to me is like, this is one of the classic blunders. But A Christmas Story, it was so small. And really nobody cared that they went to Disney and said, is this okay? And Disney looked at it and it's like, look, it's a neighborhood fair with someone dressed as Mickey. They're not encroaching on our copyright. And Disney said, okay.
Yeah. Try that in 2025. See how that goes.
No way. And all Ralphie wants to do is to get to see Santa. And he's very impatient. And finally we head into the department store. And as we said, this is Higbee's department store, a real department store. And the movie crew built this giant Santa, this whole thing with the slide and everything. And so Higbee's continued to use this Santa set just for years. And it became a Dillard's in 1992. I think they still use the Santa set. And then it finally closed down this department store in 2002. And they guide Ralphie and Randy to the line. And then they head off. And we're really close. We're about to go up. And then we hear a voice say,
Hey, kid, just where do you think you're going?
Going up to see Santa.
The line ends here. It begins there.
That man is Gene Shepherd, the author of these stories. The woman standing next to him is his wife. And I believe it was shortly after shooting this that Bob Clark kicked Gene Shepherd off the set. So they go to the end of the line. And you have to deal with the weirdness in the line, the weird kid with the funny like aviator's hat and the wicked witch who wants to deal with it. I love Ralphie's attitude when the witch comes up.
Oh, get to my pretty. What a tasty little toy.
Don't bother me. I'm thinking.
It's like, whoa.
I like that she just goes, okay, and moves on.
I mean, this is serious stuff.
No shit.
Now we cut up to Santa. And the way they everything with Santa, it cuts fast, it's intense, the camera is uncomfortably close. Everything makes you not feel comfortable with Santa and his elves.
Yeah, 100%. It's so great to show it that way. That's what makes this film, I think, endearing in ways, Steve. It has a nostalgic glow about this family at this time and dealing with the holidays and Christmas and a kid wanting a gift. But then they also show you like how these people are behind the scenes, these store Santas sometimes, and these store elves sometimes. So I love that they add a little bit of that harsh reality of the truth,
of suddenly having a wet lap and getting rid of the kid, like
exactly,
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Randy and Ralphie start heading up the stairs. The kid that we met with the aviator's hat, he just starts screaming when he gets to Santa. They shove him down the slide. I really do like that they essentially have built an ejector seat with that slide.
Yeah,
just get the hell out of here. Apparently, the actor playing Randy was genuinely freaked out.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's a really chaotic set, and it's a lot of weird stuff going on.
Why do you think kids do this? I'm always fascinated by kids freaking out when they see Santa. Like, I watched a whole clip of TikTok on this stuff the other day. I was just fascinated how many kids lose their minds around Santa. Do you remember? Did you go to Santa? Did you take pictures? Did you ever lose your mind around Santa?
I do not think I ever lost my mind. I'd have no memory of that. There are some very cute early 70s pictures of me and my sister in matching outfits, by the way, going to see Santa. Nice. I don't think I freaked out. But having now been a parent and having been around a lot of kids, they're going to freak out. And this is, the more you build up something emotionally, the more there's a potential for a freak out. And certainly with my kid, there were times where it's like, oh, this is not we're not in a rational place right now. We gotta,
I don't know if you've seen this, Steve, because I don't know if you go on social media, but there's now a trend where parents get people to dress up as the Grinch to break into their homes and steal the presents from the children. And the children are like screaming and crying and going insane. I had no idea it was a trend. Again, watched some clips of that the other night. I'm like, I would never put my kid through this, but
no,
some people just fucking love traumatizing their children about this shit, man. It's crazy.
This is one of the many things with social media where it's like, maybe one parent did a weird thing and thought it was funny, but it didn't spread like a virus. I mean, because I didn't see the Grinch one, but I definitely saw when like, oh yeah, your Halloween candy was also, I ate it all,
Yeah. Oh,
I was seeing those ones.
Terrible.
Like,
yes.
Why do you think this is funny?
Or throwing the slice of cheese on a baby? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
Don't even tell me. I don't even want to know. I don't want to know.
You're going to find those. Yes, that was a trend a while ago, throwing cheese on your baby's face. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And the new one now is baking a cake in the shape of whatever pet you have and then slicing the head off the cake of that in front of the pet to see how the pet reacts. Like, what is wrong with people? How bored are they with their fucking lives to create this kind of madness? I don't understand. But
I just have no comments on this at all.
Exactly.
Needless to say, Randy, who the actor was genuinely freaked out, well, the character is also freaked out. He screams. Santa goes, oh, get him out of here. And they push him down the slide.
Yeah.
This was his first time down the slide, too. And so he was really scared. Like that frightened expression that you see on that kid as he's going down that slide. That is a frightened kid going down that slide, Talk about method acting. And now Ralphie is clearly freaked out. And the way they handle this, if it was chaotic before, it's more chaotic now. It's handheld. We've got those fisheye lenses. Everything is coming at Ralphie. He doesn't quite know how to get his bearings.
Then what's your name, little boy?
Hey, kid, hurry up. The store's closing.
And he brings Ralphie in closer.
How about a nice football?
Football? What's a football? Without conscious will, my voice squeaked out.
Football. Okay, get him out of here.
Oh, it's so sad. Again, this is how you do. They clearly set up the Santa, how he gets rid of people. They set up the slide. They set up the whole thing, and we know that's what's going to happen. They put him on the slide. He starts to go down, and then he stops himself in a moment that I can only define as heroic.
Yes. No.
It's like he goes back into the burning building for the baby. I mean, Santa is terrifying.
Yeah.
And he climbs back up and says,
No, I want an official Red Ryder Carbine Action 200 range by rifle.
And then that big smile on his face because he did it.
Yeah.
And what does Santa say?
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
And then pushes him down the slide with his foot.
It's amazing because they're almost marveling at him crawling back up like, look at this kid. And then he says what he wants. And then and Santa takes just a half a beat and goes, you shoot your eye. Just so simply, saying it. And then the close-up of the foot coming onto the head is just great. And his kind of like, no, as he slides down the slide. I think this is such a great welcome to real life kid moment that we all go through as children,
It's later on. It's obviously Christmas Eve. Dad is on the ladder finishing with the tree. And then there's discussion. And this was, I don't know about your house, but every year there were problems with the lights because there was one on the strand that was burnt out and you couldn't find it and you had to.
Bro, when you're poor. Oh, I'm sorry. When you're cheap. The same lights every year. Yeah. And the different ones going out every year. And you have to be up there on that ladder as your dad. You have to hold the ladder for your dad as he goes through hundreds of bulbs to see which one sort of turned off. Oh, God, yes. Many a time.
Two things. One is this is actually our experiences are identical.
Yeah.
If you go to my mom's house and you go up into the attic where the Christmas decorations are, or maybe it's in the garage, the lights that are in there are the ones that we had in the 70s. Maybe new ones were bought at some point. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that I just realized. We were talking before about Ralphie helping Dad the first time he helped Dad with the car, right? And that was a big deal. I had that. I can remember. Why don't you help your dad with the Christmas lights? Really? I can? And I was so excited to help Dad. And it was maybe 20 minutes later, I was like, this is terrible. I hate this job.
Yeah, I got to that before they even sent me out there. You know why? It was their fault. They turned me into a TV addict. So I would have to turn off the TV to go help my dad. And that's the last thing I wanted to do.
Oh, goodness, look at the time. I hope Santa hasn't had to pass up this house just because some boys weren't in bed when he came by.
Yeah, I thought I heard Santa's sleigh bells a little while ago going up the other side of the street.
Time for the kids to head up to bed. It's so I know I've said this before. I actually have no memory of ever believing in Santa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, never. Now it could be that I have forgotten learning it, but in my mind, it just because it was like a play. It was a big improv, and I knew that it was my parents, and they were pretending this thing, and I pretended this thing, and I knew that was a guy in a fake beard at the store, and that I was playing this role. That's my memory of it as a kid.
Yeah.
It's the next morning. They wake up. They look out the window. And we see just a perfect winter wonderland of all the crystallized icicles hanging from all the trees. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the way they did this, because it wasn't snowing outside. And so, they're making snow, but there was one night that they saw it's going to get really, really cold, like maybe below zero, no snow. So what they did was they got a bunch of big fire hoses and they sprayed water all over these trees when it was below zero so it would crystallize. And that's how they got this beautiful image.
Wow.
They run downstairs. They see that Santa has come. They see all the presents.
I want to play Santa.
Well, wait a minute, Randy. You played Santa. He played Santa last year, didn't he? Ralphie, you played Santa this time.
What I love that this movie highlights, every family has their own traditions, their own ways to give out presents, their own ways to, like when I started celebrating Christmas with Karen's family, they give presents by order of age. So the youngest gets the first and you go around to everybody and then you do it again. Like families have different ways of, does everybody open their presents at once? Does everybody stop to watch one person open each present? Does the person who gave the present bring the present? Like there's traditions everywhere,
Yeah.
And I love the moment too where the kids open up socks, toss the socks immediately. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
We see Randy gets like a tin Zeppelin. In the book, that's actually Ralphie's gift to his brother.
Oh, nice.
Dad gets a can of Simon Eyes, and I think Dad's happy about the Simon Eyes.
Seems very happy about the Simon Eyes, yeah.
And then we get to Aunt Clara's gift.
Aunt Clara had for years labored under the delusion that I was not only perpetually 4 years old, but also a girl.
We see that big pink bunny onesie.
Oh, man.
Ralph, go upstairs and try it on.
I don't want to.
Go upstairs right now and try on that present. She went to all that trouble to make it. Now go on.
And it's totally the walk of death going upstairs.
And I'm sure everybody listening to us, or a lot of people listening to us, have that one family member that gives you the weirdest effing gifts, and you just don't understand why they think the way they think about when they hand you the gifts they give you.
Oh, yeah. And it was every year, and you knew which one it was.
Yeah.
And with mine, I don't know about yours, I was going to see her that night because we celebrated Christmas night at my great aunt's.
Yeah.
And so it was always like, I might have to wear it because I'm going to go see her, you know?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Ralphie, we're waiting.
Oh, come on, Mom.
Right now.
We see the fuzzy pink feet on the stairs, and they look up at them.
Immediately, my feet began to sweat as those two fluffy little bunnies with the blue button eyes stared sappily up at me.
And man, the reaction. I mean, he looks so adorable. It's so horrible. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. Randy's laughter, because Randy never gets the best of Ralphie in the whole movie, but this moment, he gets to have a little bit of the upper hand by laughing at Ralphie for how he looks. His laugh, his snickering laugh is so great. It's such a great laugh.
He looks like a deranged Easter bunny.
He does not.
He does too. He looks like a pink nightmare.
Thank God for Dad.
Thank God.
And this is such, oh my God, this is a key parenting question.
Yeah.
Are you happy wearing that? He shakes his head. Do you want to take it off? He nods. Tell the kid to take it off.
I love it. Because I'm sure that the dad knows that his sister-in-law is a batty loon. And so, but he knows, like, you know, to keep the peace with his wife and respect their family. Yes, but then he gives his son the option to get the hell out of that situation quickly, which is great.
Well, here's an interesting thing about parenting that I really learned is that when Karen and I are having struggles, there was times where I was absolutely the wrong person to deal with that problem. And there were times where Karen was absolutely the wrong person to deal with that problem. And we would look at each other, you know, and it's like, oh, you go now. And we were, you know what I mean? Like, because what I would bring to this situation is actually going to make the situation worse. And we've seen it in this movie because Mom helped him with the fight, you know, and was great to him there. Yeah. And now Dad is coming in and doing the right thing for him at this moment.
Right.
By the way, Peter Billingsley still has that pink bunny suit.
Okay. All right.
Did you have a nice Christmas?
Yeah, pretty nice.
Yeah, did you get everything you wanted?
Almost.
Almost, huh? Well, that's life.
Darren McGavin is spectacular in this scene.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's funny. What's that over there behind the desk?
Where?
Behind the desk, against the wall over there. Why don't you go check it out?
And the look from Peter Billingsley is such a very clear, like, do not mess with me, Dad. Like, this is very serious.
What did we put over there, honey?
Santa Claus probably brought it.
Which means Mom is not in on this.
No, she's not in on this. No.
Yeah. And Dad gets up, and you can see his excitement.
Yeah.
You can see the little boy in the old man. Ralphie rips it open, and that's it. It's the BB gun.
Watching it this time around for our conversation, Steve, the scene where he wins that award, like, he's giving that feeling to his son in this moment. Like,
Great point.
Right? He couldn't, his award wasn't the $50,000. And to him, it was just winning something. Because I have a feeling, if we look into the world of this character in real life, he doesn't win a lot in life, in his job and whatever. Like, he's got a great family, two cute kids, a lovely wife, but he doesn't win a lot in the places where he really wants to win. And that's in his job or his work or his bank account.
Or his furnace, or the Oldsmobile.
Or his furnace, right. Or the Bumpus's dogs.
Or the Bumpus's dogs, exactly.
Those fuckers. But here with his son, he can give his son, like, the award, the prize, the gift. And to see his reaction is his way of, like, giving back or paying it forward. And I think it's great. And I think there are a lot of fathers who love and cherish these moments with their sons because they do want to have their sons have things in life that they can enjoy because those moments are so fleeting. You know, everyone says they grow up so fast, and it's true because those moments, you know, fade in the distance sometimes. So yeah.
Well, and just to expand on that, the other thing I didn't understand until you just said that, it's that the major award is the BB gun for Dad.
Yes. Yeah,
is that
right.
is that he's fantasized all the time of doing the puzzles and trying out for the thing is exactly what Ralphie is doing by writing the theme.
Oh,
And
100%.
it's like that is that, and I'm so glad you said this because I really didn't put it together, but it's like honestly, I'm going to take it to a bigger place, which is this is Santa, this is Christmas, this is is that life can be really hard, and having the fantasy about the thing.
Yeah.
Is what helps you get through the hard places, even if the fantasy isn't realistic, even if it doesn't bring you what you think it's going to bring you. It's like that gives you a little thing to look forward to get through the day, you know?
Yeah, as you get older, you realize it wasn't bad that my parents were Santa, even though there was a shock when I was a kid. Like, thank God, because they know what to bring me. They know what to put under the tree. And those moments where I get those gifts are still magical no matter who gave them to me. So yeah, that's an important thing.
And he loads up that BB gun and he's getting ready to go out. And you could see all of Mom's mixed feelings, you know?
Yes.
Like it's not just that she's going, I can't believe you bought him this. We discussed this. You've betrayed me. It's not that. And it's not just, I'm excited because Ralphie is so happy. It's all of those things in there that she's,
Right.
And Ralphie heads out and Dad, I love it.
I had one when I was 8 years old.
I love the excitement he gets, like mimicking, making sure he's putting the BBs correctly into the gun and all of that. But I also think the reason the mom is reacting this way is because her boy's growing up, right? He's putting away childish things and now he's looking at something like a BB gun, a rifle, right? Which is the next step for a young man to move into that. Not that everyone does that, right? But like the idea of it, right, is him moving past fake stuff and moving into another place where he's like looking at some more adult oriented type thing. So I think there's that mixture in her performance that I think is really great.
We go to check out how the turkey is doing.
Now, it is well known throughout the Midwest that the old man is a turkey junkie, a bona fide golly turkicanas freak. A few days before Christmas, his eyes would begin to gleam with a wild and ravenous light.
One of the things that they make much more of in the short story than they do in the movie is these guys really don't have a lot of money. There's a reason that dinner is stewed cabbage and meatloaf because that's all they can afford. And they eat a lot of stewed cabbage and meatloaf. And this turkey is a big deal. This is the big culinary splurge of the year for the whole family. Outside, Ralphie, as Black Bart, is aiming his trusty rifle.
Okay, Black Bart, now you get yours.
There's a huge musical build, and he fires, and it ricochets and hits him in the face, and he goes down with a tiny, tiny mark on the cheek.
Oh my God, I shot my eye out.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
You'll shoot your eye out.
Ralphie, you be careful out there. Don't shoot your eye out.
She hadn't seen. She didn't know.
But his eye's okay. He realizes she hasn't seen. The only issue, he's got to find his glasses. And he's stumbling around looking for them.
Oh, no.
Rapidly, my mind evolved a spectacular plot. Let's see, an icicle, falls off the garage and hits me in the eye. It would work. It had to work. Quickly, I whipped up some tears.
Ralphie?
Have you ever whipped up some tears?
Oh, kidding?
Yeah.
I whipped up tears.
Still today.
Still today with the Lady Outlaw sometimes. I'm joking. Yeah, but as a kid for sure.
I have whipped up some tears with my son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were having a big thing, and I finally was like, you know what? I should let him see how upset I am. And it had a profound effect.
Hey, when your father cries for the first time, it's a chilling moment for sure.
I distinctly remember it was at his mother's funeral. I was sitting next to
your dad. Yeah.
My dad just started sobbing, and I had never seen my dad cry. That was big.
What happened? What is it? Let me see that.
There's this icicle, and it fell off the garage, and it hit me.
Does Mom buy it? It seems like she buys it.
I think she buys it 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So they go upstairs to get him taken care of, and Dad is sitting downstairs. But unfortunately, they left the door of the house open. And who comes charging in but the Bumpus's dogs? Like the dad isn't really quite getting it at first, and then he reacts.
Turkey!
Runs in to see the dogs not just steal the turkey, but I mean, it is a massacre in there.
It is utterly a massacre. Yeah. Oh my God. I love the anger, but right? Isn't the anger he has in this moment is so great. Like just the shock and anger. And he's so angry that he can barely mutter what he wants to say. And it comes out in the highest pitched voice. It's such a great acting moment. Like he almost, how can I say that? I mean, he almost has a mental psychotic break. Like it's so great over losing the turkey because, as he said, he's been looking forward to the turkey.
The heavenly aroma still hung heavy in the house, but it was gone, all gone. No turkey sandwiches, no turkey salad, no turkey gravy, turkey hash, turkey a la king, or gallons of turkey soup. Gone, all gone.
But this is the first time we see Mom break, which I think is fascinating because she's held it together during a number of situations. She's always had the right thing to say. She's always been there to be supportive. But now this has come to affect where she lives, which is the pride she takes and the amount of hours it takes to make a turkey that she spent doing this. And, they, like you said, they don't have a lot of money. Her being able to contribute a turkey to her and feed her family is massive. Cook a turkey and feed her family is massive. So having that ripped away from her by these dogs, we see her break, which I think is really moving. And Ralphie offering up his handkerchief for her to dab her eyes is great too. So this is just, we're just feeling touchy-feely and then boom. And this is what's great about the movie. Hey, they have a great balance of moments of really love and compassion and caring between the family. But then these other things always pop up, real life, that you have to navigate and deal with, these troubles. And so right here in this moment, they've taken the turkey and ripped it to shreds. It's hilarious.
In this moment of pure disaster where where mom is sobbing, the turkey is gone, all their plans are destroyed. Dad, in a moment of powerful dad-like decision, says,
All right, everybody upstairs, get dressed. We are going out to eat.
What time is it, do you think? Noon or 1? What time do you think it is?
I think it's like 3 in the afternoon.
3 in the afternoon? Okay.
I mean, it's fun. That's one of the other things, by the way, about Christmas is every family has a different schedule.
Yeah.
How does this work? I know I said at the beginning of this conversation that this wasn't really my movie. It's not one that I went to many times. I didn't. It wasn't something that I absolutely adored. For me, from the point of visiting Santa until the end of the film, I really do love this film. And in particular, it's this scene in the Chinese restaurant. This scene is amazing.
Agreed.
We see the outside of the Chinese restaurant, which, by the way, they are now having a Jewish Christmas because this was the traditional thing for Jewish families to do, was to go out to Chinese food because that's the only restaurant that was open.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very, very classic Jewish tradition. And by the way, the Bob Clark thought it was funny. The name of the restaurant is actually Bowling with the W burnt out. So it's really just a bowling alley. That's what he was thinking. And we're seeing it out through the window. And the Chinese waiters are singing Deck the Halls with heavy accents.
Deck the hall with power of glory.
As the camera pushes in and the kids and mom are all laughing. And my first reaction, because I hadn't watched this movie in a long time, so I didn't actually remember how the scene went, was I just went, oh no, is this going to be a make fun of the accents scene?
Right.
And I really didn't want it to be that. And it's not. It's not that at all. and by the way, Melinda Dillon steals the show.
Oh my God. Yeah.
There are very few laughs that you can actually see, oh, she has an infectious laugh.
Yeah.
It is infectious. If I look at her, I can't not smile. I can't not start laughing.
She's almost childlike in her experiencing everything, right? It's all so insane.
Yeah.
But there's a joy to it because I imagine he doesn't take her out a lot. So
not.
being right,
Yeah.
so being in a restaurant and seeing the reaction, she's almost wearing probably her best dress. And like the whole, so she's just like kind of savoring all of this in a childlike way, which I think adds a great energy to the scene. As you said, she steals it.
I mean, in this area, people really didn't go out to eat. Going out to dinner was a thing that normal, the average person might do a few times a year, depending on what their work schedule is. And, wealthy people would do somewhat, but not, it really was, now it's pretty ubiquitous. But then I'm sure they didn't go out very much. Well, and the thing that happens in this scene that I love, which is that when you go to the weird place that isn't what you expect, there are kind of two directions you can go. One of them is, this isn't what I wanted. I hate this.
Yeah.
And the other one is, this is a new adventure. Let's enjoy it. And they're doing the latter.
Yep.
And so they start bringing out the food. They come out with what I believe looks like an absolutely gorgeous Peking duck.
Yeah, it's a great looking duck.
And this is the thing, is you've gone from roast turkey, which, is a perfectly fine meal.
Yeah.
That many people love and many people are kind of ambivalent about, to Peking duck, which is arguably one of the greatest culinary dishes in the world, in my opinion. And so to me, I'm just like, oh my God, look at that. And I was dreading that they weren't going to like it, that they were going to resist it, that they were going to be upset about it.
Right.
But they bring it out and they see that the head, of course, is still attached, which it would be very disrespectful in Chinese culture to serve because that's a sign of freshness and that you really care about your food, to serve it with the head. But to them, this is just crazy.
Yeah.
The kids laugh. Mom bursts out laughing. Bob Clark did not tell them that the duck was coming out with a head on it at this moment. And this is the first take.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah. And by the way, this is all in one take, this whole thing.
Yes, it's a beautiful duck. Yes, it really is. It's but you see, what? It's smiling at me.
And the waiter very happily grabs his cleaver and just chops that head off, which again, the kids and the mom did not know was going to happen. They just all burst into laughter.
I love that he's like, okay, is it okay now? Like, it's so great,
It's like, yeah, very nice. And they all laugh. And then all of the Chinese food comes out and we hear,
that Christmas would live in our memories as the Christmas when we were introduced to Chinese turkey.
By the way, Chinese turkey actually is a nickname for Peking duck. I never knew that, but that is the thing that some people would call it.
How funny.
We iris out, as we've done many times. We're on the snowy exterior of the house, and we see Mom come downstairs, turn off the light, walks through the dark house that's kind of lit from the tree, sits down next to the old man, and he slowly puts his arm around her back, and she puts his arm around him as Silent Night plays. And it is a lovely moment.
I like that they end with them. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it's a great situation to have it go to that moment, to end like the Christmas section here with them. Because we've been focused on Ralphie so much, it's nice that they get a little bit of a moment. And I think it's a great way to appeal to a lot of us universally. We always wondered what our parents did when we weren't in the room, and so having a nice moment like this, I think is a smart way to end this section of the film.
It's so funny because on the one hand, Mom and the old man are cartoon characters of parents. You know what I mean? Because they're seen through the perspective of Ralphie at that age. But I think this moment turns them into real people, you know?
Agreed. Yeah.
We go up to the kids in the bedroom. We see Ralph lying, cradling that rifle next to him.
Next to me in the blackness lay my oiled blue steel beauty. The greatest Christmas gift I had ever received or would ever receive. Gradually, I drifted off to sleep, pranging ducks on the wing and getting off spectacular hip shots.
And that is the end of A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
It's very, very sweet. So the budget on this movie was so low that the studios didn't look at dailies. We have all these things where the studios are coming in and talking and seeing They didn't see cuts. They didn't see dailies. They really didn't care very much. And I think they watched it at a certain point and they went, okay. And they put it out over Thanksgiving weekend. And the first weekend it did okay. And the next weekend, the audiences doubled.
Wow.
Yeah.
That rarely happens.
Rarely happens. But this is a movie with minimal advertising, no budget, no major stars. And so they just went, I'll just put it out in the theater. Unfortunately, that year, the Christmas season was so booked with movies that even though it was doing really well in the box office, they kicked it out of the theaters before Christmas.
Oh, what?
So this movie didn't play at Christmas.
Wow.
But it really was a sleeper hit. It had a $3 million budget and it made $19.2 million in its release, which is damn good money.
Yeah.
The next year in 1984, they re-released it over Christmas.
This is so interesting. I'm looking up 1983 movies and when this came out, which was in November 18th, right? And so I see the same because like November 9th is Scarface, Sudden Impact, Terms of Endearment, Christine, and Yentl and Silkwood is the next week. DC Cab, The Rescuers in a reissue, To Be or Not to Be, which I remember seeing in the theaters with Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
Uncommon Valor, the Vietnam movie with Gene Hackman, which I love. The Man Who Loved Women with Burt Reynolds, who was still very big with Julie Andrews. So yeah, those were the movies. Oh, and Two of a Kind with Travolta and Olivia Newton-John reuniting. So those were a lot of big movies, not necessarily successful or good movies, but certainly big movies. So I guess I can understand, because this isn't the days of the multiplex, right? These are the days of where like theaters have to survive. So they have to catch the lightning of the big movies that are coming with the big stars. And since this was a small one, getting shoved out, it sucks, but I guess it makes sense financially at the time.
And again, this is one of those movies in the early days of VHS that just became, and on TV replays, that just became a classic over time.
Right.
There has been a Christmas Story marathon, which is hugely popular on TV since 1997. And people will just, as soon as it comes on, that just plays on a loop on their TV the whole day, you know?
Yeah.
As you mentioned, there was a sequel called A Summer Story in 94, Summer Story 2 in 2012, and there is a Christmas Story Christmas on 2022.
With Peter Billingsley and a lot of the cast coming back to be a part of it.
So there's also a real connection, a direct connection between A Christmas Story and The Wonder Years. And later on, Young Sheldon, because it's this model of a adult voice telling the stories from the perspective of a kid.
Yeah.
And Spielberg, who's the executive producer on The Wonder Years, loved A Christmas Story. And so as he's just kind of developing the project, he's looking for a voice, a writer, an executive producer, someone to kind of be the main person on The Wonder Years. I don't think it had a name yet. And so he called in Gene Shepard and said, let's meet him, and have him. So he had a meeting with Gene Shepard. He said at the end of the meeting, thank you very much. And he called up Bob Clark and he says, I have no idea how you got along with that guy.
Wow. Well, shit. If you can't impress Spielberg, that's not a good thing.
So I'll give my final thoughts first, which is I'm glad we revisited it, because it gave me an opportunity to give this a really fair shake. And while I'll go like, look, is this going to go up with It's a Wonderful Life or some of my other favorite holiday films? No. But do I really see the magic in this film? And it's that mix of Gene Shepard's writing and that those adult language with the completely within the kid perspective and this world. And it's fun. I'd be curious of how this plays with subsequent generations, because even though I grew up in the 70s, not the 30s, I could see my childhood totally in this. But I actually think we're getting farther and farther away from that in terms of how Christmas happens, and all the stuff is just getting really, really different. So I wonder how it'll play, but I hope that people will be able to go back and get the wonder and the joy and just the childlike ridiculousness of this film, which I really did enjoy.
Yeah, I was so happy we chose to do it. And it's even better when both of us aren't just falling all over loving the movie, because I think it's great to have the kind of balance and approach to it that we had on our discussion for it. Because I love the film, but like you, I don't put it in the It's a Wonderful Life section of great Christmas movies. For me, this is one of those like scrappy movies. And so when I get a chance to watch it, I always enjoy watching it for our show. It's a brisk 90 minutes, but what it captures is something that is universal for, I think, a majority of families, because a lot of families live paycheck to paycheck. A lot of families try to find those pockets of joy during Christmas season when you can give gifts, when you can get gifts, and when you can kind of detach yourself from the madness of the world and lose yourself in a little bit of the Christmas season, the holiday season, and what have you. And I think this film always captures that really well. A lot of us had dads who were a little grumpy. A lot of us had moms who had to kind of, take care of the house and all this. So I think there's still things that are relatable to our society to a degree. But I hear you, Steve, the way this Christmas is laid out, I think we've moved very far from that experience necessarily, but there's still enough universal aspects of the film that make it so good. The direction, I think, is fantastic here, and the performances from everybody across. But there's no one who is weak from like the delivery guy all the way to the Christmas guy, tree guy, to everyone else who has way more lines and way more scenes. It really works. And I love that there's still a magic mixed in with the harsh reality of life sometimes when you're in that financial situation that I think works so well. And we have a good protagonist who is a kid who just wants to get this thing so that he can enjoy something in his life, because he probably hasn't had much in his life. And so I love that in the end, he does get what he wants. And even though he almost shoots his eye out, he's still very much in love with that thing. And it means something of real value to him, even though it is a material value. There's also a emotional value and a spiritual value for him. And I think that's very beautiful, so the portrait of the family, and then where we go with this film, it still touches me, still moves me. And it is the spirit of Christmas, which is about, giving to those who can enjoy or appreciate things from the place in your heart of deep love. So I think that's great.
And of course, we'd love to hear your thoughts about A Christmas Story. You can visit us on our Facebook page. You can just do a search for the Cine-Files at Cine_Files on Twitter, the Cine-Files podcast on Instagram. You can buy or stream A Christmas Story along with every other film we've ever reviewed on cinephiles.net. And if you want to support the show, you can do it on patreon.com/the Cine-Files, where we've mentioned that we have this 25% off sale going on right now. All you need is the code 9BCA3 to take part of that sale. It's definitely worth it. You could even give the Cine-Files as a gift to your favorite film lover. You can also get ad-free versions of the show as well as our shorts on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to reach me, it's SR Morris on Twitter, SR Morris1 on Instagram. John, how would folks reach you?
Yeah, you can always reach me on social media at The Rocha Says, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says. I'd love you guys to do that as a Christmas gift to get me closer and closer to 50,000 subscribers so I can start to get more people of higher status to come on and be interviewed on my channel. So if you could give me one Christmas gift, it would be to subscribe to the channel, because that's free. I'd appreciate you all doing that. But definitely subscribe to our Patreon. I mean, 25% off. That's a great deal. So many of you have been on the fence a little bit, and we're delivering greats. Ask anybody who's on the Patreon that we deliver every week, every month, great stuff for you all to enjoy, extra content for you all to enjoy. And we are consistent on it every month and every week with that content. So you will definitely get your money's worth. And 25% off is a great discount to encourage you all to give it as a gift to a fellow movie lover on your list for sure. So thank you so much. And happy holidays to everybody who's celebrating it over the next couple of weeks, because we appreciate you all madly. We love you all madly for being with us on this journey as we go next year, officially into our 10th year of doing the show. So thank you all so much for being with us, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of Christmas Story.
Yes, happy holidays and happy New Year's to everyone. And we'll be back in 2026, where we're going to start the year with an exploration of the life and films of the great Rob Reiner.